Hello and welcome back to Xpwaste, where I'm on a boat. I'm Michael.
And I'm Oxie. It's no better a second time, let me tell you. If you're new around here, welcome. We're a podcast that talks almost entirely about old school RuneScape. I say almost because we tend to get off on tangents quite frequently, and I promise you at least once we will talk about RS3 today. It's only for a little bit, but we will talk about it very, very, very briefly. If you're not new around here, Michael and I were recording for about 15 minutes before I realized my OBS wasn't picking up any audio, so we restarted. And I promise you, the I'm on a boat intro was no better the first time. The recording booth chat is absolutely lighting us up. This is why we can't have nice things, is the TLDR, and we're going to get rolling with it again. So, Michael, how's your week been?
That's been good. I was like it's not good the second time.
It's
a good intro, man.
We are thriving.
So good. I'm doing swell. I'm doing swell. It's been a good week for me. I mean, Brew Life, RuneScape, they've been good. In the game, I mean, I'm still pushing towards Song of the Elves requirements. I just got all my bars smithed. So if you've not done Blast Furnace as a low level Iron Man, it's all right. I wouldn't do it without a coal bag though. I did it with a coal bag and it was really nice. Mm-hmm. I made like 1,000 steel bars and like 4,000 mithril bars, and I only needed like 750 or something. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be good. But I'm at 64 smithing. I only need what is that? 6 more levels. And then 5 more herb lore levels, and then my construction grind. But I'm hoping that when I finish Giant's Foundry, that I'll have enough money, close to enough money, to be able to like pay for all the planks that I need for construction.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm 51, and I need about, I think, almost 2 mil probably to make all the teak planks. But 70 construction is gonna be nice to be able to have like all the stuff that we normally have to go to TMD's house for in my house, so that I don't have to like, hey TMD, can you log in so I can go to Barrows? I don't have the magic level obviously, but there are certain things
you could boost
that he's put in his house.
Though.
Isn't it like 80 something?
Yeah, it's 83, but you can still boost for it, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I need you to go do Slayer, and I need you to get Imbued Heart. That would be amazing. Tiki in the recording booth chat says you cannot boost for Nexus. Oh, but you can for the regular portals. Yeah, we don't have a Nexus.
Houses
you can for the regular portals.
Houses are pretty jank as an Iron Man. There's like 4 portal rooms just like chilling. It's pretty great.
Yeah. So I actually have a portal in my house right now. I've got the Korend Castle, which if you ever are doing Slayer and I'm online, you don't have that one. And then the Salve Graveyard, which is a pretty close teleport to a fairy ring. But yeah, the games have been good. I've not logged in my main account, so literally nothing has happened on that account. I can't even remember the last thing I was doing. I'm closing in on a lot of like the Grandmasters. I did Monkey Madness last week. I'm planning on doing Dragon Slayer 2 this week.
Okay, I was like, hold on.
Oh, the Grandmaster quest. Bro, I haven't even done the Medium Diary. What are you talking about?
That's why I was like, back up.
Yeah, bro, I've been grinding. I'm Grandmaster Combat Achievements on this account.
I don't talk to Michael for 4 days over the weekend. He's like, yeah, I have 10 Infernal Capes.
But yes, Iron Otis in the recording booth chat. I am planning to stream Dragon Slayer 2. It's all dependent on if I can get the prerequisites done, because that one you need 70 smithing. And I'm only like 1 thieving level away. And then I have, I think I have 1 prerequisite quest. And then it's actually just killing Galvac, which if you've been listening to the show for any length of time, or you don't know, I haven't actually done Dragon Slayer 2. I had a friend log in and do it on my account. I wasn't actually playing RuneScape at the time when Dragon Slayer 2 came out. And so he was playing on my account and he's like, hey, do you just want me to do it? I was like, sure, I don't really care. So I didn't actually do Dragon Slayer 2. So I'm actually excited to do it on a very low level account and die a lot probably. Or not, because I'm a lot better at PVM than I probably think. I killed most quest bosses. I've killed most quest bosses in 1 or 2 tries. I think the Gluff fight was an anomaly because I ran out of stamina. But That's me in RuneScape. In real life, I upgraded all my PC parts last night. It was quite the fiasco, if you ask me.
I would agree. It sounds like quite the fiasco, you know?
So I started at 8 p.m. I thought, okay, because I was having T-Pace Tyler, like I was FaceTiming him. No, I was actually in Discord, and I was like, okay, so what are we doing? And he's like, we're trying to update my motherboard. And I'm like, it might actually just be easier if I put it all together and then try and update the motherboard. So I put it all together. I'm like, dude, I'll call you back in like an hour when I'm finished. I severely underestimated how long that would take. I didn't finish until midnight. I got everything installed, all the fans, everything plugged in. I go to turn it on at midnight, and the displays aren't working. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to bed. We'll figure this out in the morning. And so turns out I just needed to update my motherboard, which I was going to do in the beginning, but he was having me do like a bunch of extra stuff, which is fine. But it turns out all I had to do was go to the Amazon page where I bought the motherboard, and some guy left a review where he's like, you just need a USB drive and you plug it into the update port on the back, and you press this button and you wait 5 to 10 minutes and it does it. And I'm like, I did that and it worked. I was very, very surprised. And I was also worried because I texted Oxie at like we were supposed to record at 9 or 8. I can't remember. 9.
It was supposed to be
at, like,
early.
Yeah, it was earlier than what we are now.
Yeah.
I texted him, I'm like, it's not looking good. I don't have my displays aren't working. I'll let you know. But it worked out. And thank goodness my wife has a PC, because her PC's over here. And thank goodness I was able to turn hers on, get it all set up, and download that file, because I would have had to, if I didn't have that PC, I would either have to like go to a friend's house and get it, or take everything out of this computer, set my old stuff up, download the file, put all this back in, and then update it, and then hope it works. Because I don't think you can download the file on a Mac and then use it on the PC. I don't think that would work. Doesn't sound like it would work anyway. But we're set up. We're good to go. I don't have to touch it for like ever. I don't have to touch this computer forever. Maybe I'll change the thermal paste once a year, because I think I have to. I think that was probably what was wrong with my old motherboard. Is like it was basically dry. There was almost no thermal paste left, so it was probably overheating. Tiki in the recording boot chat said it would or could. So maybe it would. You'd have to format the drive with a different file system. See, that's a lot of work.
That already sounds like too much work.
I mean, it might not. If I didn't have the PC, like my wife's PC, it would have been probably less work than uninstalling all the stuff that I put in and then put it back. But it worked, and we're fine. The PC that I have is probably way overkill, but it's going to bring down the rendering time, and it's going to help stream. Like, it's going to be better for streaming. It's going to be better for recording, editing, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited. And you upgraded your PC this week or last week, right?
2 weeks ago.
Was it last week?
I think we talked about it last week.
Did we talk about it last week?
I
I think if I ever do touch anything else or like do any more major upgrades, I'm just going to go to Micro Center or someplace that will do it for you, because that's like 5 hours of my life that I can't get back. But I did it.
You did.
Maybe it gets easier. I don't know. But yeah, we also hosted Father's Day at my house yesterday. It was a freaking long day. It was a lot of fun though. Very sunburnt. I was mowing the grass, mowing the backyard because it was way overgrown and it needed it. And then I plucked up all the grass off of our patio, because we have like the previous owners installed like rocks, and they put sand in between the rocks. And so it's like the perfect environment for weeds to just grow in between the rocks. And so when you pull the grass out, it's very easy because it's sand. They don't have a lot to root to, but it's like, it's only been a month and the patio is covered in grass. So I'm either going to have to concoct this like homemade weed killing solution, because I don't want to use Roundup. The chemicals are terrible. Or I'm just going to have to go out there once a month, for like 3 hours and pull these weeds out.
You could
It's
like it'd be a pain in the ass, but you could put like some sort of bed over it, like a weed blocker fabric or something.
true.
That would you have to like pull everything up and put it underneath.
Yeah.
Though, so that's probably not.
We'd have to
worth.
pull all the rocks up and then put them back in the right spot. That I don't know. It just seems easy. What I want to do is I want to get all of the sand out between them and just put in like mortar or like concrete and like actually install them. Because I don't know why they use sand. It's not a good solution. But I'm very sunburned. I probably should have put sunscreen. I didn't. I'm actually regretting that. I don't know why I didn't use sunscreen.
You always gotta wear sunscreen, dog. Come on.
I know.
Come
Skin
on
cancer,
now.
man. It's not good. Especially with the tattoos also. Like tattoos in the sun, for any other reason, I mean, cancer is the main one, but also secondary reason. I don't want my tattoos to fade.
He said, I can excuse cancer, but a faded tattoo, that just won't
I will
do.
not stand for that. But that's been my week. It's been a great week. It's extremely hot. Extremely hot. I think today the temperature it's supposed to be like the forecast is supposed to be 102.
Cute.
And they have an excessive heat warning, which that just means stay inside. Like other than necessarily like if you have to go outside, do it, but it's not recommended. It's not good. It's not good. But that's my week. How are you?
Well, I mean, I'm not looking at a severe heat warning, that's for sure. I'm looking at a crisp 73 degrees.
Don't even.
We're cheering. We are absolutely cheering up. Though it's going to get pretty hot. It's going to peak into the low to mid 80s this week. So it's going to be pretty sweaty for Michigan.
How will you even survive?
I don't know, man. It's going to be tough, honestly. This week, what have I done in RuneScape, Michael? I genuinely need to know. What have I done? I've been
what have you done?
slow. So I like set myself up on Thursday to like train farming. Like farming or Thursday night, I was like, I'm going to wake up, do a whole lot of farming. Cause I'm like, basically I was almost to 69 and I'm like, I've got to get something going here. I got 185 hellhounds. That's a horrible task. I think I might do it in the catacombs, but that is just the worst. Anyways, I'm training Slayer on the GIM currently, and I'm still mining on the main. We are a whopping 428k away from 90 mining on the main. But so I set myself up to farm, right? And I just didn't log in from like Friday to like an hour ago. Like Friday at work, I wasn't busy doing work on Friday, but I was busy doing stuff. So like I just never got a chance to log in on mobile. And then on Friday, I drove home for Father's Day weekend, and I had a fencing tournament on Saturday. Had a fencing tournament all day Saturday. Did not fence very well. But I think in Saber, it was nice because I was able to adapt to what the referee was saying, and I used a lot of skills that I don't use very often. So, like, good on me for showing that I can do that. Also, mega annoying that you keep calling everything attack and preparation when it's just not. Like, it just give me some points in the box, please, because like you see me leaving and you see me attacking early. It was hometown refereeing at its finest. It was driving me mad. What else? So we've got the tournament, which again just was like okay, nothing mega crazy. On Saturday night, I just went out to dinner with my mom. No big deal, because my dad was like staying down at his like other place down, where he lives. I almost doxed my dad. Don't want to do that.
It's bad enough we say Oxie's dad on the podcast.
And then on Sunday, my dad texted us and was like, "Hey, why don't you come with me and my lady friend, to the DIA, which is the art museum in Detroit." And we're like, "Sure, let's do that. That sounds like a wonderful Father's Day." Though he does not enjoy going to the DIA. He was in it because the lady friend had an assignment, like a school assignment. She's like, kind of like she's his age, but going back to school type deal. So she had like a DIA assignment. So we go. Everything that could have gone wrong on the way there did.
Oh no.
My sister and I leave. We're supposed to get there at like 10 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning. We leave at like 9:40 to get down to where we need to go, which is more than enough time. We stop to get coffee. The line is wrapped through the drive-thru and then split off on either side. So we're like, oh, we'll just go in. We waited from 9:40 to 10:20 and only got our coffee and not our food. So we're like, we'll just go somewhere else. So we drive and we finally go somewhere else. But like, we're out of gas on the way there. And then the traffic is bad when we're driving to the actual museum itself. And then like, so the DIA has this big Diego Rivera gallery. As he painted this whole big piece about like the spirit of Detroit. And we were in there for like 5 minutes. And they're like, all right, well, everybody get out. We have a concert, So it's like, it's the equivalent of going to the Louvre to see the Mona Lisa and then having someone be like, all right, your 2 minutes are up. The whole room is closed. But like, it's big enough you can see it. So like, and my dad was kind of cruising through the museum anyway to just, get the assignment done.
Right.
And then Sunday was pretty chill, though I got home super late, so I'm quite tired. I got home at like 11:30 and still woke up at like 7 a.m. today like I normally would for work. Because today's Monday, Michael. Today's Monday. We did not record on Sunday. We both have Monday off for Juneteenth. So we were like, we'll do a morning recording. But yeah, I've just had a very busy weekend doing stuff as always. And then in game, we're just sort of chugging along. It's nothing that's not going well in the game.
Right.
We're just, hanging out. I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like you've been on your Dragon's Task for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I did finally get it's only been like a week, but I did finally get the Dragon's Task done. And now I'm just going to AFK Hellhounds in the Catacombs of Kourend and cut through some prayer potions and, call it good. Because I've got a train Slayer for Monkey Madness too. And the main is still trapped at Motherlode Mine. There's still what we're doing on the main. We got 89. The last time we recorded, we got super close to 89. And I just like got online later that night and got it. But we are one level away from base 90s. And then we'll move into something else. I'm
excited for you.
Me too, because I don't want to stay here anymore. I'll like Zaya Runecraft while we record, and it will be the most like beautiful thing. It's not enjoyable, but it's not Motherlode Mine. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, well, I say it's enjoyable because after I finished runecrafting, I actually missed it. Out of the 3 grinds that people most loathe, mining, agility, and runecrafting, it was the most chill. It was the most AFK of the AFK skills, because mining, if you're doing Motherlode Mine, like there's a lot of mental math.
You have to do math, yeah.
You have to do math. I don't like math when I don't have to do it. And then if you're doing agility, it's just like constantly clicking on the freaking rooftops, or you're just spending a lot of mental energy doing sepulcher. So runecrafting, it's like fill up your bag, fill up your inventory, make runes. Not your bag, but like if you're doing ZMI. But Zaya runecrafting is chill. I low key kind of regret doing runecrafting first of the big 3 back when I did it. And if I do it over again, I'll probably do agility, mining, and then runecrafting.
Seems like
it takes a lot longer. Yeah. It takes long. It takes a long time. Like I was on paternity leave, and it still took me like, I don't know, 9 weeks of playing, probably 5 to 7 hours a day. So it's chill. Once you get to 90 and you can do soul runes, especially with the runecrafting outfit, like you can make some money. And bloods too. Like from, I think it's 77 or 80 something, 80 to 99 is over 1 million blood runes if you have the runecrafting outfit. That's so much money because they're like 200 or 300 each. So it's a good time, and it, that can pay for your other buyables. That would be the one downside, I guess, to doing. No, actually, no, never mind. Of the big 3, I mean, runecrafting, mining, agility. You don't need money to do runecrafting, or sorry, you don't need money to do agility or or mining. So you do rune crafting, and then you've got construction, prayer, herb lore, all that kind of stuff.
So you don't
pay
really
for.
need money to do rune crafting either, but I suppose you make money. And people
make
like
money.
make money at MLM, but like it just doesn't seem worth it. Like
I
40
think I made
mil,
like 40 mil.
40
yeah,
mil
something like
over
that.
like 40 hours doesn't seem worth it, you know?
Yeah. It's more than 40 hours.
Well,
I
don't want to know how long it is, right?
It's way
Because
more than
what I'm
40.
hearing in the recording booth chat from everyone is that like I wish I did agility first for the 99 grind, and you know what? If we get to the point with maxing, I'll consider it. But
do it.
At
Agility,
this time,
mining, and then rune crafting.
At this time, I cannot conceive going for a max cape because I can't even conceive getting 400k more mining XP. But I have done that. Again, that is the extent of what I have completed in OSRS. It's been a pretty chill week.
Yeah.
I was originally playing another game and I forgot.
You were playing.
I saw
you playing Halo Infinite.
Yeah. Oh my god, we've had some gaming stories this week.
Not that I'm
I
stalking you.
completely forgot. So Infinite Season 4 dropped this week by the time this episode comes out. And I was looking at it and I'm like, all right, what do we have here? And it actually doesn't look too bad. Like Infection's finally coming. They're adding more customization. So like some of it's pretty cool. So I hopped in and I played a few games. And it runs a little smoother now. It feels a little better. You know, it's more fleshed out. It's getting to the point to where it should have been on launch, which is nice.
2 years later.
Yeah, pretty much. So there's a little event running right now. So I played the event and I played, just all other sorts of like Slayer and stuff like that. And, I played a little Halo Infinite. And then on Monday, not today, but a week ago, I was playing ARC. I think it was a week ago anyways. And it was a whole calamity. Like I am on the cusp of being able to fight Rockwell on Aberration. But in the midst of breeding my army, I realized that like everyone says just like use a shotgun and cactus broth. And if you don't play ARC, it's fine if you don't know what I'm talking about. But like, that's what I've been told or what I've seen on YouTube. So I'm like, all right, I'll develop that strategy, but I have to transfer to all my old islands first. Right? Because I have saves on the island in Scorched Earth, and I got all the stuff ready, and I was good to go. And I had all my broth, and I was set, and I was transferring from Scorched Earth back to Aberration. Game crashed.
No.
And I signed back in, and my character was gone. And
what?
I was freaking out. I'm like, I need to get back to the character upload screen. Like, I don't know what happened. This is totally wonky. And when I made the mistake of like uploading another character, which like apparently wrote the save of my old file, and it was gone. And I'm like, oh, that's so disappointing. Yeah. So for a time, I was just like, damn, that's like 2 years of work. Like I've been working on that solo ARC playthrough. I was working on the island when you and I were having discussions about what to do for a Discord Patreon in like 2021.
Oh my god.
So like that was depressing, but I went in and I looked at like how you can like change the files and things. So I pretty much manipulated the files in ARC to bring everything back to where I was right before, or like where the crash would have happened, right? So where all the stuff was, everything was perfectly uploaded to like the servers and stuff. So I brought it back to that point. I created a new survivor. I used admin commands to level myself up to where I would have been. I used admin commands to ascend and get the extra levels. And then I used admin commands to take the tribes on all 3 worlds. So everything belonged to me. So technically, I got everything back that I initially wanted to. The one thing that didn't transfer and won't transfer is imprinting. So when you imprint on a baby dinosaur, you get like more health and speed and damage output and stuff. All the imprinting was gone on all my creatures. And I had a little sad moment of like, oh, they forgot me. But I was able to recover all my like progress, so that's good. Just very spooky. And like, man, that was my Monday night. But we're back in action. I haven't played it because obviously I haven't been home. I woke up this morning, did Achievement of the Week, and like started recording pretty much. But we're here. We're thriving.
We are here. It is podcasting time.
It
I mean,
is
it's been
podcast-
podcasting time. But,
well, I mean, kind of. My microphone's actually working this time, so yeehaw.
and I'm thieving master farmers because I need seeds. I can't rely on TMD forever, Oxie.
You can't.
I cannot. I got 2 Raynar seeds, and that's pretty freaking rare, actually. I'm only 71 farming. This shouldn't...
more like rare nar seeds, am I right?
Raynar. So this week, they dropped a big bomb on us as far as content is concerned.
I mean, it wasn't like unexpected. Like it wasn't like no one saw
I didn't
this
expect
coming.
it.
They said when
saw
it was
it
coming
coming.
out.
Oh, you have to pay attention for that to be relevant.
Oh, Michael.
Hey, I don't really...
Oh.
Okay. I'm gonna preface this whole conversation with like, I'm not really paying attention to sailing. I am, but if I didn't have this podcast, I don't think I would be paying as close of attention. But we're going to talk about the core gameplay blog. It's called Adding a New Skill, Sailing Core Gameplay. Now, if you want to get caught up before you listen to us and our thoughts, there's like a 10-minute video that they put out. It's pretty nice. I think you just type in Old School RuneScape, their official YouTube channel. That's what I watched to get prepared for today. But it's
how many times did you read the blog, Michael?
I have skimmed it, Oxie. So it's quite juicy and it's quite dense. There's a lot to go over.
It's what they called me in high school.
That's what they called you in high school. No. Yo, Otis just asked if we could pause recording while he goes and watches it. Otis, we'll be here when you get back. Yeah, if you have it, just pause the podcast right now. Go and watch it and come back. Make sure you come back though, because we miss you if you haven't. So welcome back. Welcome back to the video. We are going to talk about the core gameplay. So up until this point, it's only been like an idea, the idea of sailing. And then I think step 1 was like proving that we can do it. Yeah. Proving that you can sail. And so the stuff that they've released now is, expanding on the ideas that they initially had of what they proposed. So there's core gameplay, primary, secondary, and tertiary. And then obviously examples and a bunch of that kind of stuff. So overall, how do you feel about sailing before you read this and then after?
I mean, I was a fan of the new skill for sailing for a while. So, I mean, for me, it seems fine to me. I don't really have any sort of gripe about it. I've got, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Reservations?
I've got some skepticisms about it.
Yeah.
But that's just because I don't know how the skill works. It mainly is when we get into like the tertiary gameplay aspects, but I mean, it seems to me like the core gameplay, the core system of like interact with the stuff on your boat to gain sailing XP seems fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very broad way of putting it, and I think having to put it broadly is the best way to define a skill.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm chopping trees. I'm mining rocks. I'm cooking food. I'm crafting runes. I'm, interacting with my sailboat. Right. I think it's very simple, and I think it does a good job of that. And I think they did a good job of like turning it into Construction 2.0 or like a player-owned port system with how they want you to interact. So like, I don't know, the core, like if you like off the rip, the core gameplay doesn't sound, the core system, right? Luff the sails or unluff the sails or whatever they're calling it, right? It doesn't sound super fun. It doesn't sound like super engaging. But the most basic of most skill mechanics isn't super engaging. Thieving has some pretty simple base core mechanics that are not really engaging and just kind of like you're doing it, But I suppose that's most skills in the game. So like I think it's a good foot to stand on for like the initial core gameplay and stuff. And I think the primary, secondary, and tertiary kind of build off of that idea really well. That like interact with the boat and get XP. How do you feel about it?
Well, I think going back to your point of like core gameplay being sometimes boring, sure, hit rock, get ore. That's core gameplay for mining.
So many rocks, get so many ore. Hate all of it. Oh,
if they, sorry, I brought that up. Take essence, make rune. That like if we don't want to put mining on the table. So, if we look at other skills and say they were trying to pull wood cutting or mining. If we look at those skills, we're like, man, this is boring. But then you think about secondary, tertiary. What is the third one? Primary, secondary, and tertiary. So a tertiary like form of training is volcanic mine. That's like the idea is not hit rock, get ore. The idea is that you're mining this rock to prevent a volcanic eruption, and the outcome is you get mining experience. So if you think about sailing in its most basic form, you're right. Fluff the sails, steer the ship. That's at its core, that is sailing. But there's a lot more that can be offered that is kind of like possibilities are endless when it comes to the idea when you break it down into the core gameplay systems. So it gives a little bit more depth, whereas before I was like, this is boring. Why did we vote for this? I didn't vote for it, but like how did it pass the poll? And it's taken on a new form for me, at least, past the meme of own a ship, sail the seas, back, the meme that everybody is continuing to call sailing. Like they've really, really put their heads together and given a lot of depth to a pretty basic idea of a skill, where like you can use sailing this is an example and this is all in the blog, but like you can use sailing to charter out to sea, harvest coral, and then that coral can be used for arrows, potions, supplies, like different things. Like it's going to affect the other skills in an impactful way, but it's all up to us. It's up to us as the community whether or not that kind of stuff passes. So there's definitely a lot to consider moving forward. It's like, is this the route that we want to go, where most of what you're doing is related to the ship, but there's like this whole other world with tertiary gameplay?
So I think
like there could be a raid or something like that in the future.
I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Are we? Okay.
I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves for several reasons, and I'm sure we'll go into it. But like,
well, whenever you're like writing a paper, you have to give the outline. This is the outline of our synopsis.
And as an outline for my portion of the synopsis, the tertiary gameplay seems the least exciting.
Oh, okay.
Because the tertiary gameplay to me is so dependent on how the skill actually is. We don't know if it'll be fun or not. Just to get it off the table right now, imagine how shitty a sailing raid is going to be if sailing isn't fun to train.
Right.
Imagine wardens, but it's mining or it's rune crafting. Imagine Verzik, but you just have to run agility. Like it's not fun. That doesn't seem like a fun time. So it depends on how sailing interacts with the rest of the game. And like we've seen Chambers utilize other skills to not suck, but at the end of the day, Chambers ends with a boss fight.
Yeah.
So unless this raid ends in like a ship-wide PvP, I feel like they kind of have to go Chambers style for this. So you could utilize like all the stuff on your boat, and then at the very end you have like a player versus monster, boat versus big enemy raid boss. I think that could be super cool. But it's dependent on how the skill is. Clues are exactly the same way. Are these going to be my new favorite kind of clue, or are these going to be the VLD cave step, or the Trollweiss sled step?
Oh,
just like ones that are just like, oh my god, it's this inconvenient. Seriously?
Yeah. Can you imagine though? taking the idea of a clue. They've already kind of talked about it with like treasure maps, but it would be a clue completely at sea. So if you've the closest thing I can really relate this to is Minecraft. When you find a sunken ship, sometimes you have a map, and that map takes you to coordinates. You dig straight down in the sand, and there's like a chest. At its very like basic idea, that is finding treasure with a map. But with sailing, you could add like encounters. It could be kind of like temple trekking, where you start at one point. It's predetermined when you get the map, and along the way, there's like you have to fight a sea monster. You would have to navigate around some rocks. I think they mention all of this in here, but like at the end, you would get the clue reward, whether or not it's the actual clues rewards that we see with each tier now, but it could be specific like sailing clues that have the same table, or it's a completely new table of items. But you're right, it definitely could be absolutely positively not fun to train.
Yeah,
and then the stuff that we are forced to do is just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, and I mean, I think, yeah, while in a way temple trekking can be fine, there's a lot of really shitty parts of temple trekking that people just teleport out of. Like, you ever use the stick on the blog? Of course
Yes,
you haven't, because no one wants to do that. But like, if that's your clue step, wah, wah, you know? So I'm hesitant for that. Ship PvP, I'm still on board for the idea, but I was kind of thinking about this the other day because I was putting some thought into it when we figured we were going to talk about it. When we PvP now, you have a choice of how much risk to bring. We have a PKer in our clan, Doom, right? When Doom dies, he loses anywhere between 680 to like 750 KGP per kill if he dies, right? Because that's his return set between his gear and his supplies, which, by the way, Doom, if you're listening, drop a photo of what you wear so people can know what to like do bounty hunter and PKing with. And that's fine. Losing 700k as a main account with thousands of hours really doesn't mean too much, you know, especially when like earlier today Doom got an 18 mil kill. So like when you get stuff like that from PvP combat, it's not as problematic. If you lose a PvP battle and they sink your ship, is it the equivalent of like losing your player-owned house with all your sailing facilities and all of your upgrades and all your stuff like that? Like, if it's one thing if you can respawn your ship as is and just lose whatever cargo you have in there. Kind of like how you lose what's in your looting bag when you die. Like, I don't think that's an unfair system to be like, oh, you got caught in the dangerous part of the open sea and someone PK'd you and they took everything in your cargo hold. Like, that seems like a fair system, but like, am I going to have to get a new ship? Are there like untradeable special ships? What happens 5 years down the line when you do the, you know, Slug Menace Wet and Wild sequel and you get like a special boat and you just like lose it? Like, can you get another one, you know? Is there going to be a Fire Cape style boat where you have to like kill a certain enemy where you get a certain ship unlock afterwards, but you only get one sort of like deed to that ship, and just like a Fire Cape, you have to kill the boss again to get it? Like, PvP sounds super cool. I need to know more about sailing before I'm like, yeah, sailing PvP. Right. That's just how I feel with all of the tertiary elements. Like, all of the tertiary bits that I'm looking at, none of them sound like super shitty. None of them seem like, oh yeah, let's add this now. Except for maybe aquariums. Because I think adding a POH room that has like a big old aquarium in it where you could show off like fish and corals and things, that just sounds fun, because I'm something of a hoe for zoos, and like that was my favorite part of Animal Crossing. So, you know, that seems like a great time to me.
That is, I think that is my favorite part, is filling the museum when I'm playing Animal Crossing.
And frankly, maybe that's the space for it.
Yeah.
Maybe the space is in the Varrock Museum. Maybe they add another floor below the fossil floor, and it's the aquarium floor. and you collect all this rare stuff and you add it to all the tanks and you get little XP lamps. It's like tertiary gameplay for sailing. Kind of like how you add Fossil Island.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't think it's so like overwhelmingly crazy for the tertiary stuff. I funny enough am more interested in the primary and the secondary of like how you actually train the skill, you know?
Well, funny enough, the tertiary part of this blog is the shortest part, so kind of got it out of the way, a little bit out of order. But I mean, I think it's intentionally vague, and that's the problem too. Is these are concepts, these are things to get you excited, and that's kind of it. It's like expeditions, ocean raids, ship PvP, treasure hunting, and aquariums. That's what they've listed here as the tertiary things, and then there's literally like a small paragraph underneath each of them. Not a lot to go off of. With secondary and primary, there's a bunch of stuff. Like they've given it a lot of thought. What did you want? Do you want to go through the core? I mean, core is kind of boring. It's like click mast, unfluff sail, get sailing XP.
But that's also, I mean, like I think that's more along the lines of like, you know, what you just described is chop tree, get wood. Core gameplay is which kind of trees do you chop? Where do you chop them? What kind of axes you use to chop them? What little benefits you get? What kind of logs you get? What are those logs? You know, things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's more of like the primary gameplay, and I think like the first one they have, charting the sea. That seems like the early game meta.
That seems like fun though.
It does. It also seems like if they're going to give you chunks of XP for like dicking around on the shoreline, exploring areas that you've already been to, you know, like Port Sarim and, you know, Port Khazard and things like that, it seems like a pretty solid and stable way to get through the low levels of the skill. Yeah. Right? So I feel like that will develop itself into a meta pretty early on, unless, again, I am really bad at predicting what things are going to do. I don't know if you guys have figured that out by now, but I'm really shit at like predicting what is going to happen with a new content update. So who knows? Maybe it's a shitty way to get XP and it's not even worth it.
But you think about like, in order to play a game, and this isn't relevant for every single game out there, but most of the time, take a game like Skyrim or Fallout where it's open world. Most of what you're doing in the beginning is exploring and like you're doing little side quests. Maybe you found an NPC that's like, I need, 6 tires for my rover, and you got to go and find them, and it's going to take you all around the map. And that's, you're experiencing the game by exploring the world that they've built. So the first thing you do, you load up a ship, you build it. It's like a regular log ship. You're level 1 sailing, and they just want you to go and chart the area around your port. Then you get to 5 sailing, and they want you to chart. You just keep going, and maybe along the way you find a small island with an NPC, and it's like, hey, I haven't been off this island. Can you take me back to my home? And like from there, it builds and builds and builds, and then when you get to a certain level, then you can start adding things to your ship. Your ship can go farther, because they talked about the size of the ship that you own is dependent on what you can do. So you may have a little dinghy, and that dinghy is only going to be good for maybe getting from one side of the island over to like a small journey, and then from there you're charting, and that is when you move into the secondary and tertiary, because from there you've built up enough of a foundation of sailing to where adding in those other elements like trawling, I don't want to trigger anybody, but fishing trawler, the skill, doing that, and deep sea fishing and like mining. I never would have thought that was a thing. Like you pull this hook along the bottom of the sea and you get special ore. But
yeah,
as far as core gameplay goes, it does sound fun. And one thing that I really hope is that we can do this as a group.
Yeah, that is one question I have about some of these things. Like some of the stuff they bring up, like shipwreck salvaging, it more so gets into like the secondary gameplay with like how much of this stuff is instance and how much of this stuff is like public, like we'll use shipwreck salvaging in primary. If there's a ship that's crashed off the coast of Zolandra, is everybody going to see that ship? Is it going to be like shooting stars where like the rewards scale down with the amount of people that are there? And is it, I'm not even trying to think of it in like the worst case scenario, but like, is the meta for something that the entire world can see to hop to low population worlds and try to get the most out of it? Is there going to be like a team size that's viable, or is it going to be like a shooting star where you mine it for like 3 hours to take it down from 90 to level 10 or whatever it is? So I'm not sure. D4 Drake says it'll be like shooting stars from the video, which I believe it, and I don't hate that system, right? I think another thing like the mineral dredging with the metal detector they talk about in the secondary gameplay, the shoals of fish for trawling in the secondary gameplay, it depends on where these things are at, and if they're like super rough. Like if you're fishing at the fishing guild and someone crashes you doing sharks, for example, the sharks all stay in the same spot. And
Sure.
it's not
There's no
like
crashing.
it's not like a huge loss, If someone crashes you and they make your shoal despawn faster, or it's like I imagine they're not going to do the 1 in 8 random chance to despawn after forestry and all this stuff. I imagine it's going to be on a timer. But if that timer speeds up when there's more people there, and then your shoal of fish goes from the port in Zaya to Port Phasmatis,
It's gonna take a while to get there.
that sucks. And that's another question I suppose I have, which they didn't really touch on at all. Teleportation.
Right? Is fast travel gonna be a thing? Can you like? Because right now, if you take the boat from anywhere in Fremennik, it takes literal seconds to get to any of the islands there. But I imagine in a real life, scenario, it would take maybe hours to get there potentially. And is this going to be like if I want to go from Lumbridge? Well, you can't really go. I mean, there's a lake, there's a river, but you're not going to get a boat up the river.
Literally, I mean, if you have a small dinghy, the river Lum connects to a bay, and like you can.
It does.
You can
That'd
get
be cool
out
if there
to
was
sea.
a port in the South Lumbridge. But if I want to go from Lumbridge over to Port Piscarilius, is it going to take me 45 minutes? Is it going to take me an hour just to sail there, or can I fast travel like we can with charter ships? Because one thing that I think they should definitely do away with in this game after sailing is charter ships. It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean,
if you have your own boat and your own massive ship, why would it make sense to keep the sail part? Yes, like if they can still be, if they're the ones giving you the contracts, and if they're the ones selling you the items, sure. But it would make more sense to say, if you want to sail to Port Khazard or Port Tyrus, that you would need a certain sailing level. Now, don't put a high requirement on them. Make them all like between 1 to 10 potentially, but give a little incentive, I think, to train the skill if you want to navigate the world. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you can pay other people, or you can have like your friends charter you. You have your friends' boats like they have with player-owned houses. People set up services. I don't know.
I see a lot of issues with that, because then you have to do what no player wants. That's to go back and add new requirements to old quests. Now Regicide has a 40 sailing requirement. Now Ghosts Ahoy has a 26 sailing requirement. Now all these things are getting updated after the fact, which sucks. And then if there is no fast travel option, so I think Otis brought it up in the chat that like it'll be like a cut scene. You know how when you travel right now, do 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 do, and they have that little like the boat goes from point A to point B.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good system for fast travel. But I think if we just eliminate that entirely from charter ships, that sucks, because that slows down. Like the first thing I think of it slows down is farm runs. Because I teleport. True. I don't use. I I don't have it on my iron, and even when I had it on my main, I still always teleported to Ardoyan and then went right to Brimhaven for my fruit trees. So I never used the house portal. I never used the
why you
spirit tree.
hate farming.
I mean, honestly, it wasn't too like fruit trees with like. It's not that I hated low level farming. As a side note, it's that I hated farming without teleports. I hated farming where I have no idea where I'm going and I have no idea how to get there. Farming is a lot easier for me now, physically and mentally, because I have a path of where I'm going, and I have like an inventory layout of how I want to do it. You know, the main, it was just seed pod. Enhanced crystal teleport seed, house tabs. That's all I need, baby. I'm good. But on the iron, it's rune pouches and daily teleports and limited number of this and all this and carrying all this stuff around with me because it's like harder to bank, and I'm trying to like optimize my routes. So like if I'm going to Fossil Island, for example, I'm only on Fossil. Like I'm doing everything on Fossil Island. I'm doing hardwoods. I'm doing bird houses. I'm doing everything.
You're not leaving.
But like. Then that throws off the inventory groove of like if I'm doing herb runs before I do that, like it just farming is complex because I'm still developing a system as a new Iron Man of how to do it well. But low level, like when I was pushing for 99, that shit was so easy on my main account. Oh,
right.
Missed the days, man. It was beautiful.
Tiki brings up a good point about fast travel and things like that. Like if you set up a hot air balloon route, you have to chart the route, and then you can fast travel and do it instantly after. So maybe it's going to be in the sense where you have to navigate there once. So like you do have to do the route from Lumbridge to Port Priscarius in Zaya once, and then once you do it, then you can use the fast travel option. I would actually be okay with that.
The first thing I think of in that. D4 Drake says Bronze Man Sailor, and that's exactly what that sounds like. And to me, why am I going to take a hot air balloon to Castle Wars when there's a teleport on the Ring of Dueling?
Well, you're thinking of current content.
No. You see what I mean?
Well, you're thinking of places we've been to. Yes, you're not going to use your ship to get from Lumbridge to Zaya. That was an example. But in the sense of if there is a new island or if there is a new place that doesn't have a teleport.
If there is a new sailing specific island, that is something different.
Yes. That's what I was saying.
Eliminating continental charter ships that get you from point A to point B that are utilized throughout the lifespan of a player's time playing the game, that would suck. That's like reverse quality of life.
Oh, are you talking about my thought of just taking out charter ships?
Yeah, taking out charter ships, removing fast travel for boats. I'm interested, how is fast travel going to work as far as like where your boat is? Let's say, for example, I have to sail from Brimhaven. I have to sail from Brimhaven to Port Hazard for a contract. But then, the boys hit me up to go to Tob. I'm not going to sail to Tob. I'm going to use my Draken's medallion at Port Hazard, right?
Right.
But let's say the Tob session is done. We get some purples. We make a ton of money. And I'm like, oh, man, I got to go back to the sailing hub in Port Sarim. Is my boat just going to be there? Is there going to be like a call follower option for my boat to just like appear in the water? Because like that seems like that to me makes sense. Because if it's like, it's hyper realistic, your boat is left wherever you left it, that sucks. In a game where we could teleport around and use magic to do all sorts of stuff, it just seems inconvenient,
Yeah.
Pay the demon butler to look at it. Dude, we need like a demon sailor. Like
that's what I was going to say.
We need the same model of the demon butler, but in like a little sailor boy costume. If your player's going to be like, you look oddly familiar, DM's going to be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's like, you have like a little meta breaking with it,
Times are changing. So I think that might be the play that they're, what they actually might do is like, once you get to the point where you are sailing the continents and like you're going around the world, you hire a crew, and that crew takes your boat. Like you call them up, and you're like, hey, I'm going to be in this port at this time, show up there. so that in the game, your boat is always where you are.
Yeah.
Or they'll make it to where once you get 99 sailing, you can teleport to all the ports.
99 sailing, dog. This is gonna be a 60, 70K max per hour skill. You're talking about 99 a year before it releases, dog.
That's my max brain, bro.
Dog.
My max brain. I'm gonna max the skill.
And I did. Of course you're gonna max the skill. And I know what you guys are thinking. 60, 70K is what I assume it's gonna cap out at. It's not gonna be like smithing or construction.
I disagree. I think they're gonna have a lot of different training methods. And if they get to choose the way that this skill, because all the skills we have now are like maybe 2007, 2008. No, 2007. All the skills we have are like around 2007 when they weren't really considering the way that we train skills now. So if they can choose the XP rates and the methods, like they're giving us low intensity, they're giving us medium intensity, high intensity, there's going to be different methods for a lot of things. And so take Sepulcher, for example. It takes agility and it gives you a high intensity way to train it, but also it gives you pretty decent XP. I think you can get over 100K agility XP per hour. No? Okay, maybe 90K.
At 92 agility at peak XP, no looting, 95K an hour for agility.
Okay, so
if we
it's
look at other
close to-
supports, if we look at other support skills like thieving, right? Starting at 45 thieving, if you blackjack the bearded bandits, right? But 65 onwards, you use Metafight Thug. So we'll use 65, right? The fastest training method for thieving is 200K per hour. And yeah, blackjacking is extraordinarily click intensive.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So it's
if we look at, but I mean, it's a bit rewarding, but if we look at what the best methods are off the top of our head, like we talked about last week, we got the 1.5 tick teaks. We got the 2 tick swordfish, right? We've got blackjacking. We've got paying runners for bones and paying runners for lavas and things like that. All these methods that get bonkers XP, 3T4G, right? Super fast XP. They don't really describe anything like that in sailing. And I know what we talked about with solo mission, that idea of like emergent gameplay, who knows what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the downside to the team knowing how players play the game now, they're going to have it in mind.
Yeah.
They're gonna know that tick manipulation could be a thing, and they're realistically gonna design something that doesn't allow for tick manipulation, or
right.
they're gonna patch it out as soon as it comes up because it's not supposed to be there. Like, tick manipulation methods were not the intended ways to train the skill. Like, if we want to talk about the intention. Right. Yeah, people picked up on it when this game was like dwindling in population, and the real diehard fans stuck around, and they figured out how to do like the herb tar fishing spot, all that to get the fastest XP. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna allow it to be a super high XP training method.
I agree with that, but I don't think it's going to be super low. I don't think that just because the skill comes out that we have to like put it in a box of, well, it's got to be boring and it's got to be slow. I think at higher levels you could get up to 200K reasonably, and people would be fine with that. I think it's
perfectly acceptable in like the 90s.
Yeah,
but
right. Well, I think we've talked about it a lot, but like XP scaling, I hope that they take that into serious consideration, and like whoever is in that Discord where you can be like a general contributor, that's what we should be talking about, is like the way that XP scales, because this could get to the end of the vote. Like they could get to the point where they're actually talking about like the way that they want to handle XP, and that could make it or break it for me. If it's going to be a slog fest at 90 like it is for most skills, where soul runes 90 rune crafting, and soul runes are maybe 45 to 50K an hour. You have to be really paying attention to get higher than that.
I mean, it's still slow. It's still a lot faster than arguably the community's favorite skill.
I mean, mining is 55 or 60 at Motherlode Mine.
That's faster than the community's favorite skill.
Which is what?
It's so fast it doesn't even have a best XP per hour on the wiki. Slayer.
Oh, I get, yeah. That's true.
Slayer has has a variance in gameplay. I've been slaying for maybe an hour, 8.9k. Granted, I'm on my Iron Man killing hellhounds and baby blue dragons, so it's not like I'm, cannoning bloodvelds or anything like that. But when one task can net you like 65k an hour, and people are losing their goddamn minds over it, like when the bloodvelds in the labs came out, that you can finally cannon, you get like, oh my god, such good XP, that's crazy. Like it's not that fast to train.
Yeah.
But it makes up for that because the gameplay is extremely varied, even on like the bossing level. Like you can't tell me Grotesque Guardians, Thermonuclear Smoke Devil, and Alchemical Hydra are remotely similar beyond the fact that they're all Slayer bosses.
Mm-hmm.
I
think it's balanced because of the money. People aren't really doing Slayer for the XP at higher levels. People are doing it for the money. The money is what drives. It's like if Alchemical Hydra was a thing and it dropped Bass, nobody would kill it. And it didn't have any really good drops. It would be like this. I mean, the XP's decent.
That's combat everywhere. If Tombs of Amasket only dropped Bass and middle fingers, nobody would do it. Right? It's because it is rewarding. GP. Is why like that applies to everything that is killed. But the counter argument is people do a lot shittier stuff because they want their max cape back. Right?
True.
People go through the most boring of content. Far more boring than like anything PVM related, in my opinion, to get their fancy red cape.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that statement because like I would have stopped way before way before max if I wasn't actually, if I didn't have a goal or a desire to max. I would have stopped way before. I probably would have stopped like maybe base 90s because that's pretty good for an account. Like you're pushing 2200 total at that point, so you can do a lot of stuff. You can do most of the stuff in the skills listed at base 90s. There's like maybe some offhanded, like fletching is 95 for some, construction you can boost, but most of it's really high level. You have to be a pretty high runecrafting level to make Wrath. It's like there's a bunch of stuff that is high 90s.
But the bunch of stuff that's high 90s. And this is where Slayer is actually interesting. For most skills, the stuff that's in the high 90s isn't the best training method.
Just so weird.
Souls aren't terrible, right? Doesn't hold a candle to lava runes. Nobody mines runite ore. Nobody, like, I would say redwoods hold up as a good training method, but they're still not the fastest. Soul runes hold up. Redwood birdhouses, skills like fletching, it just depends on how much money you have. If you're the average player, you're probably going to use redwood or magic longbows. If you have billions of GP, dragon darts. Same thing with crafting. You could do blue or black dragonhide for the average player, but if you've got the capital to do air battle staves, a level 60 something requirement, and then get to 99 from there, go for it. It's quick. So I think Slayer is interesting in that it allows you to train the skill using unlocks from the entire spectrum of the skill itself. Like Duradel will assign monsters that don't even have Slayer levels. I've got them blocked, but the fact that you can go to the highest tier Slayer Master and get fire giants, that's wild, Yeah. But at the same time, you can also get big Slayer bosses. You can get other random boss tasks. Like I still have my Venenatus task in my main because I just kept getting killed. I lost so much money in the wilderness last week, Michael.
Oh, no.
I think I didn't lose anything substantial, but like I was at Spindle and I was greeding so hard. I'm like, 1.6 mil. I can live with 1.6 mil in my looting bag. I could not. I could not live with 1.6 mil. And we died, and we did that twice. So
oh no,
I've lost about 2 or 3 mil worth of loot from then this week, but nevertheless, we press on. So like, I don't know, there's that, and then there's special Slayer Masters that assign special tasks. You know, I think if sailing is like Slayer in that people aren't as concerned with the XP rates because the content they're doing is enjoyable to a degree, I think it'll be fine if it's 60 or 70k an hour. Because just like what sailing is inevitably going to be, every Slayer task is not fun. There are some dog shit Slayer tasks, and I love PVM. There are some bad Slayer tasks that you can get. Iron Dragons, even shit like mutated Zygomites, I just rather not, you know? So I think there are going to be some sailing training methods that feel like that, and nobody's going to do them because they feel like shit. They were going to have like a spiritual creatures style sailing task that people just like skip or block, you know? I'm a little bit more confident that even though the XP rates probably aren't going to be super cracked, that's still going to be tolerable for most players. I'm hoping anyways.
Yeah.
Oxie's been wrong about these things before, let me tell you.
Well, you never know. I mean, they don't give numbers. They're just literally, they say XP per hour is low to medium. XP per hour is medium to low. XP per hour is medium to high. So it's not something that we can give a definitive answer to say, for instance, finding shipwrecks, that their idea is going to be like XP per hour is low. The click intensity is low. GP per hour is low. So like, is finding shipwrecks even going to be fun when you get later on in the skill? Probably not, unless they add like higher intensity or higher reward. Then sure.
That's the other thing we haven't really kind of pieced together is what rewards we get from it. Because like, do you want to run around the map mining a rock with a bunch of random strangers who have a never zero chance to like say a slur because that's what people with public chat on do? No. But the recolor for the mining outfit's pretty cool. And the celestial ring is a must. So like shooting stars have their place, even though at their face value, so maybe that's what ship salvaging is like. Maybe because we're lacking the rewards, I think that's going to be the next piece that I think drives it home for a lot of players is what are we going to get from this beyond what makes our ship go well? But much like how we talked about with forestry last week in our episode, and I listened to the episode of Guthix Rest that you were on, which we didn't actually talk about in this recording. We talked about in the one where my mic wasn't working at the very start, but we weren't talking about this time. So Michael's the new co-host of Guthix Rest, by the way. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And I think some cross-skill integration things are going to be nice. But what are they going to be? Because clearly, if we try to cross too many lines, the community is going to be up in arms about it. Training woodcutting to train Slayer doesn't make any sense. It's fancy MMO. You know, like I understand. I recognize, like I said, the logic of that end of the community that didn't want that for forestry. I don't even disagree because I think it's a little strange, but it's just they didn't define it well enough for me to have like a more concrete opinion. Like it could be fun, it could be stupid, you know? And I think the rewards need that for sailing. Yeah. For me to be like, yeah, I'm super sold on this as a really good training method because if you just salvage shipwrecks, and you get nothing but shit from the shipwrecks, like, oh my God, regular planks and rotten tomatoes. Beep, 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 beep. It's not worth my time.
Well, what if you, and this is just an idea, like early game construction on Iron Man sucked. So what if that's like the new meta for getting planks. It's like salvaging ships.
It could be.
It's like a couple hundred planks an hour. And I would do it. Because it's like right now making planks doesn't actually get you anything other than the planks. And it costs money. But if you got sailing XP and you got planks to train construction, that would be amazing. Early game at least. I'm not going to make another account. Like this is probably the last new account I'll make in a long time. But
leagues, baby.
True, it could be good for leagues. Yeah. Going back to like the combo skilling. Really, the only examples we have of that is on Fossil Island. So, well, you have like aerial fishing, but the main example is like what is that called? Deep drift net fishing, where you get like hunter and fishing
getting
XP.
into like the secondary skills.
Yeah, the secondary. So those combo skilling, like I like the idea of combo skilling. I really do. If I can load up with the boys on my boat, maybe I don't know how it's going to work, but maybe you can go like Oxie and I can go on our group Ironman accounts and we can go on my boat and we can work together to like mine these undersea ore and both of us get a pretty decent mining level. Kind of like if it was like volcanic mine, but at sea, I would do it.
But that
sounds
thing.
like hella fun.
It's not going to be that. They have said for all of these secondary skills, right? Higher level dredging nets will be able to reach deeper parts of the sea and dig up greater quantities of loot. This won't replace existing mining methods. This won't replace existing fishing methods. They're not going to. No, this is.
It won't replace them.
You're thinking of this as we could get a brand new sepulcher for this secondary agility skill. I'm thinking of it as you get some agility XP for barbarian fishing.
Oh,
a little bit like flash money XP. You know, that's kind of what I'm thinking this is going to be. Like if I were a betting man, if you dredge the sea or you trawl some fish, you're going to get like 20 to 30 secondary XP to every 100 sailing XP you get. If that's even like a valid example. I don't think it's going to be as intense as like the hit points to combat XP spread where it's 4-1, but frankly it might be. Who knows? You know, I've not done a lot of drift net fishing. I've done a lot of barbarian fishing, but not enough to notice. I've done a ton, but that's the thing. I don't even notice the agility XP I gain. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know. I think the only one that might have some legitimate pull to really gain some good XP is the coral farming.
And that one seems like the most fun.
It really does. I am. Listen, man. Let me dive underwater, find some rocks, maybe a cool fish. You know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I think that adds of the secondary ones that they've mentioned. I think that coral farming adds like the most new element because like you're fishing. Woo, you're getting fish. We get the same fish, potentially the same fish. Or we have potentially the same ore. Hopefully not. But at least with coral farming, you can dive down. We talked about it in the beginning, but you know, you've got new supplies, you have new ammo, you have new potions. It's an addition to the farming skill. But at its core, you need sailing for that to happen. Maybe you don't, because we have like seaweed. And that's an example of what they could add this to Fossil Island if sailing doesn't pass and they still want to add this portion. It makes the most sense to bring it with sailing. So the other ones they have are monster hunting, which I think is pretty cool. Sea monster hunting, which would incorporate hunter, slayer, and sailing.
That's gonna.
We talked about it. Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know how they're gonna balance it for like money versus repeatable boss versus pain in the ass to get there. Like if we look at some various examples, Hydra's not hard to get to and you can kill a lot of it super quickly, but it's gated by a Slayer task. Fizani's Nightmare or just regular Nightmare, minimal requirements to get there. You can kill it repeatedly. It's a pain in the ass to travel there, so it slows down the trips. You get something in the more medium range like Zulrah, medium requirements to get there, repeatable a lot, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think depending on how that spread looks, is how sea monster hunting is going to go. Period. Because I don't know. I'm hard pressed to believe that they're gonna. I don't know. I'm hard pressed to believe they're gonna give us a repeatable hunter boss that you need without a task that gives high reward output. You know, like they have to bar it behind something because they know this will eventually be botted.
Of course.
So it's either not going to be rewarding or not going to be as rewarding, and that would suck. You're right. Or it's, I don't know. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. This is one I need more information on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we talked about it already, but mineral dredging and then deep sea trawling. So the intensity is on here. So deep sea trawling apparently is going to be low to medium click intensity. So I would imagine the basics of it is like you have your net behind you and you're clicking different parts of the ocean, and that's why it's low click. It's like move here, move there, and maybe you're following air bubbles, maybe you're following a certain path. Mineral dredging is medium click intensity. The one that's high click intensity is the sea monster hunting, and then coral farming is low.
Mm-hmm.
Of the secondaries, I think again, coral farming is going to be my favorite. Sea monster is probably second favorite. Mining and then fishing. But the cool thing is, it's like this is not the end all be all for secondary gameplay. This is just kind of what they've proposed.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you know, we've got a lot of options. This is kind of what is coming potentially with release. Because if you think about sailing, what else could they add as a secondary that we already have? Obviously, agility, potentially, if they want to go with the sepulcher style. Because they talk about boat racing, but I don't know that would give you agility XP. But maybe there's going to be some sort of functionality where, you know, you're going to be jumping off your ship to run on a ledge and, like, you know, move something, and then you jump back off the ledge and you back onto your ship.
Repeatable Dragon Slayer 2 sailing themed agility course, baby. Woo! 77 agility, you get the running but wet course.
Oh my gosh.
It's just who knows?
But wet.
It's unlike the Priff where you get the crystal shards or a regular rooftop course where you get marks of grace. Maybe you get, I don't know, barnacles or something. If you could trade him into some pirate guy, and the pirate guy will give you some fancy hats. I don't know. Like there's like something stupid like that to add in for agility.
You said barnacles, and I instantly thought of SpongeBob for some reason. Barnacle. But other skills you could have. Crafting. Do you think they'll add crafting and construction requirements to sailing? I would imagine.
I mean, yeah, it seems a little sus that you can build like a redwood encrusted gilded hull of your ship with 40 construction. Like that just doesn't seem like it makes a ton of sense.
Right.
I don't think sailing should be gated behind construction or crafting. I think it should have to play into some pieces. Like I think if you want to do things like major hull upgrades, you might need higher level construction. But I think in order to, like, the sailing level has to be the highest.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting a new hull upgrade and it takes 80 sailing, 60 construction, 60 crafting. Like that seems like a fine balance, because if you lock something behind 90 sailing, 90 con, 90 crafting, that's
rough.
Unless it's a flex
you can
item.
boost.
Like it is one thing to have some items that show off prestige in the game, and I think there is
like
a
the
space
demonic
for
thrones. In construction, like you're building the absolute biggest money sinks. Like, why do you need a demonic throne other than to say you have 99 construction?
Yeah.
Before
I mean,
boosting.
yeah, there's stuff like the gold sink and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
where I don't know, you don't. It's like you need something like that, and I'm sure there will be something, gilded rudders or some shit that like have the same. It has the same functionality, but it's just expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool as hell if they did like a gold or diamond plated like ship facilities.
Yeah.
Like it's the same cannon, but it's just gold, and it costs 50 mil to put in.
Oh gosh.
Like I think there's definitely room for that with like high construction and requirements, but I think off the rip it should definitely have some sort of requirement that shouldn't be that high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so like the way I look at it is like you have a bunch of stuff on your ship. You have I have no knowledge of ship parts, so please forgive me, but like you have the front part. You know how like on ships they have like a mermaid decoration like on the front?
Yeah.
That part could be purely cosmetic, but it could show off that you did, you could get like a raid item if they have something in a raid that is a cosmetic upgrade for your ship. Like high invo cosmetic rewards that you get from Tombs of a Masket, they could do stuff like that for like an underwater raid.
Mm-hmm.
You get a really rare front mantle ornament piece, and when you're driving your ship around, it's like, whoa, that's cool. Other skills, I think, I mean, we've already kind of talked about the main ones.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see a use for woodcutting, fletching, thieving, smithing. The main ones are probably going to be the artisan skills or the support skills. But did they talk about any of that stuff in this blog? I didn't read through it that extensively to know. After the tertiary gameplay, there's a bunch of gameplay scenarios which I'm going to read through after we get done. But as far as any of the stuff we're talking about, do you know if we just speculating on stuff they've already talked about?
I think we're speculating on some of the stuff that's like out right now. I'm a little shook.
You're shook.
I'm a little shook. I got a Discord notification just now. I went to go look at it in another server I'm in. Hot off the presses. I'm not trying to take our ship off course. Hot off the presses. We recently ran a second beta for the Ruinous Powers, a highly anticipated prayer book proposed as a reward for Desert Treasure 2. We intended to run this beta until Wednesday, but we've made the difficult decision to end the beta early and shelve the Ruinous Powers. Today, we'd like to cover the reasons as to why and inform you of the future of Ruinous Powers or additions to prayer and old school RuneScape. The new prayer book has been binned as of like half an hour ago.
Oh my gosh.
They give a whole reason. If you're not interested in reading the full blog, we put together a little TLDR. It's like this whole big rationale that like the Ruinous Powers are just the standard prayer, but better, and players aren't excited in the way you'd think. They're open to suggestions. They didn't anticipate the volume of work required to deliver on the community's desire for new prayers. They talk about power creep. Like they said at the very bottom, this isn't us closing the door on new prayers, new prayer books, or additions to prayer entirely, and we'll let you know when the time feels right to have these conversations again. Dog.
Bro. This is like raw reaction to this.
Yeah, this is literally hot off the... Like, we are recording June 19th, 12:52 p.m. This came out June 19th. God, I'm gonna see what time this message came in on this other Discord I'm in. This was
11:30 for me, so 20
literally
minutes ago?
20 minutes ago. Yeah, 20 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh.
So they have officially binned it. I mean, I'm sure it's closer to an hour, but like they have officially binned the new prayer book for Desert Treasure 2. That's wild.
What is the point of Desert Treasure 2 then? Why do we have a Grandmaster sequel to Desert Treasure without a massive reward? I mean, the bosses,
there's 4 brand new bosses.
Oh my gosh.
Right? They upgrade one of the most easily accessible magic damage weapons in the game, right? It furthers the lore. It gives us good stories. I do agree that they'll probably have to expand the reward pool for Desert Treasure 2 now. Like, they might need to go as far as creating a new ancient magic spell, and they might need to go as far as like being super explicit about what the bosses are going to drop to have people not go crazy. You guys heard it here first.
Oh my gosh.
Unless, of course, they release something prior to when this episode comes out. You heard it here first. Desert Treasure 2 will be delayed.
Okay.
Because the reward pool is not where they want it to be. It is not up to snuff for a good update. Because if we look at, I guess, let's look at the other 3 Grandmasters and see what we got, right? Monkey Madness 2, the Unlimited Teleport plus level 30 Wilderness, access to best in slot jewelry, a new training method, Ape Atoll without having to be a monkey.
Yeah.
Boatloads of XP. Retroactively speaking, but it goes for all of them. Dragon Slayer 2, best in slot range damage cape, new areas to fight chromatic dragons. I feel like I should look it up.
New dragons.
Chromatic dragons. It's a new in the Myths Guild.
Well, I'm talking about like Rune and Adamant dragons are after Dragon Slayer 2.
Chromatic is the colors. Metal
Sorry.
is the... but you're right. Well, there is metal. You're right. I'm the dumb one. Yeah, metal, new metal dragons, right? On the wiki, and this is not a joke, for the rewards for Dragon Slayer 2, it says access to the Myths Guild. The first sub point, access to a pettable dog, is one of the rewards. You get Vorkath, which is a super good money maker. The Mounted Myth Cape, Ferocious Gloves after Hydra. Like, you get a new dig site teleport, and then what do we even need to say about Song of the Elves?
It's massive.
You get Prif. That's all you need. You know
everything
what song.
in Prif.
Like you say, oh, I did Song of the Elves. Everybody knows what you got.
Yeah.
What is Desert Treasure 2 gonna get? I gotta look this up. Oh no, this is wild. Desert Treasure 2 rewards. It says 5 quest points, 100,000 prayer XP. The ability to repeat the 4 bosses encountered during the quest for unique rewards and the ruinous powers.
That was it.
That was it. Desert Treasure 2. Yes, which is possible. Like, I'm not saying nothing is coming with Desert Treasure 2 now.
It seems...
It's really tough. It's really tough to be like, yeah, here's Prif, but there's no Gauntlet. Here's Monkey Madness 2, but there's no Demonic Gorillas.
It's kind of how it feels right now.
Here's DS2, but there's no Vorkath.
Right. It's kind of how it feels.
Like, we're going to get some good stuff. I don't know. That's why I cannot believe this came up mid-recording, dude. This is not staged. This truly, Michael said, it is genuine.
Imagine if we had recorded yesterday, and then we're like 2 weeks late on talking about this.
Yeah, no one would have given a shit. I never even got to try out the Ruinous Powers because I
didn't either.
Oh man, that's wild, dog. That's truly wild.
I can't wait to read through this and because I'm baffled. To me, it seemed okay. Having not done the betas, having really not read through the blog to give a good understanding of what it was. But just on the basis of do Grandmaster Quest and unlock Prayer Book, that seemed to me like it was probably fine. And they could have worked harder, potentially, to balance things where it made sense. But if it's just the regular spellbook but better, why not?
But I think the issue is I follow some PKers on Twitter. They were like, hey, Jagex, we need quad eats. And they were AGSG mauling 180 damage to new prayers.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to out-eat that. You're dead.
Then just
immediately.
Okay. If that's the case, then why not just nerf them in PvP combat?
But if you can AGSG maul 180 damage or whatever it was in PvP, what does that do in PvM?
Well,
what does that do to Verzik?
That was the exciting part.
What does that do? Well, yeah, that's the exciting part, but there had to be some sort of trade-off. So all of the spells we'll use spellbooks as an example. They all have some sort of trade-off, right? If you're on Lunars, you can cast Vengeance, and you can heal other, and you can pot share, but you can't freeze anything, right? If you're on Ancients, you can freeze things. You have access to super powerful combat skills. You got no teleports. If you're on Arceus, you have Thralls, but otherwise your magic is really lacking spellbook-wise. Like, there's not many spells other than the Demon Bane spells that you cast on the Arceus spellbook, right? And then Standard, you get a little bit of everything. You get some good utility, you get some teleports, you get some decently powerful offensive spells on the high end, but like Sangstaff and Trident are still better than what's that last one? Fire Surge? Like, you know, I would just, most people would rather use the other one. Yikers, dude. I feel like that was the problem they were having, was it was just objectively better. Like, there wasn't a trade-off like they initially thought. And the Ruinous Powers were just the current prayers we have, but a lot better from what I'm reading here and from what I've seen on Twitter.
This might be the downside of community consultation, because it's like you're trying to give people their cake and let them eat it too, in the sense that you ask people, okay, in this spellbook, would you want to have protection prayers? Well, of course. This game runs on protection prayers. Well, okay, so now we have to have protection prayers. And would you want... They went down the list and they asked people what they want. And at the end of the day, people are going to want the best things, obviously. And there was no thought whenever people were voting on this stuff to say, yeah, but we can't have protection prayers because that's the trade-off. Well, if you're doing content that doesn't require protection prayers, then that's when that spellbook might be able to shine. I think the trade-off was they drained really quickly. Like, it used a lot of prayer points. So like, you're not just going to load this up as a mid-level account and use the Ruinous Prayers. This is going to be end game stuff. So I think for like 90, maybe 75% of the player base who really, like, you know, it's still in the mid game, still maybe early, late game. It may not even have been something that people consider. So they're kind of catering to two groups of people. They're catering to the really efficient, high level end game people, and they're catering to PvP and saying this is overpowered instead of really. And really, guys, listen. This just dropped. Neither Oxie or I have read this, so these are just thoughts and opinions without having read it to understand Jagged's opinion. But they could have potentially just added balancing in for certain situations. Yes, you can hit 180 in PvP, but either disable it or nerf it in PvP situations.
But what's the point? That's my thing. If you're gonna add it and then
the whole point
if you're gonna add it and then nerf it in certain situations, your assembler works perfectly unless you're fighting Zulrah. The bow of Fairhaven is the best weapon in the game unless you're in a raid. Then it's nerfed because it's too strong. Have you seen the Bofa in PvP? When people do the 3-item of like, oh god, D4 Drake posted something that crashed.
Dragon Bones.
Dragon Bones have crashed. Well, they've only crashed down like 200 coins. Okay, it's not that much. The graph makes it look like it's like thousands. Oh,
but man. Dude, people are probably selling all their Dragon Bones they had.
Buy Dragon Bones.
This might be a good time.
Yeah, they're only 20 minutes in. I mean, I don't know. I just think like
the point is that yes, if you nerf it in certain situations, it seems silly. You have your assembler, but it only works like to say the main reason is because they couldn't balance it for all situations. That just seems dumb. Like, but they're not adding a new prayer book to cater to the PvP community. That's not the point. Like, you can't even use certain prayers in Bounty Hunter.
But this dramatically changes it. I don't think it's a matter of like
dramatically.
Ooh, now we have thralls that add 3 damage every 4 ticks to the enemy. Ooh,
right. But we're talking about
thralls. We're talking about stuff that like this is going to affect world record speedrun times for PVM. This is going to affect every bit of combat in the game. Like, you say, sure.
I say sure because the game has to evolve. The game has to change. I don't want to stay in the same 2007 scape for
I don't know how
this
many
game
times
to be
we gotta
viable.
say it. This is not 2007 Scape anymore. If
I
you
know,
guys still think this is 2007 Scape, you were
it's
mad mistaken.
I want this game to progress. I should say I want this game to progress over the next 5, 10, 15 years to where we are still talking about it, and it's not just a stale game. And I think that updates like this add depth to the game. And if it dramatically changes it, it dramatically changes it. We're not going to progress without
All I'm gonna say is look at where that got us last time. We're in this situation because if it changes things, it changes things. That's the whole reason why you and I are talking about this.
RS3 bounced back. There's a ton of people that love that game. Ton of people. And maybe it wasn't the right time for them to do that. But I think to say that, I don't know, it just seems weird that they pulled content. They asked people what they wanted. They asked people and we voted yes. And now they're pulling it all together. They're not even saying, hey, we're extending it out. Like, they could have said, hey, we're going to push the quest back to December so that we have more time to figure out what we want. No, the quest is still coming out. We're still getting a Grandmaster
for now
endgame quest for now. But we're still getting a Grandmaster endgame quest with essentially no rewards. And it just seems dumb.
I from what I've seen, I've been worried and I wanted to try it out, but I don't think it's the worst decision in the world. It sucks. I think it's really gonna yikers. Because you're right, it does dramatically affect Desert Treasure 2. Because what are we gonna get as a reward now? Unless the bosses absolutely just shit out GP.
But I don't want just another GP boss. I think that but
a lot of people do.
I understand that, but is that what updates are going to be? Is it just going to be new quests, new boss, more money? I'm to the point in this game where I don't need money. That's me personally. I don't care.
But you're also not pushing for max gear. We've run the calcs. I think Fear and I were in a call one day. We ran the calcs. It's like 6.8 bill for absolute max without any of the special Elysian Spirit Shields and shit. Sphere just said 7 bill for all the spec weapons included. Karazi, Dragon Claws, things like that.
But there's people who have all that and they still only do raids
because that's the kind of challenging content they enjoy. You don't need money for what you want to do, but you and I both know 1.2 bill, your 1.2 bill, my 1.7 ain't the end all be all for gear. It ain't the end all be all for account progression.
Yeah.
2277 is the end all for level progression for now. But you and I both know you got a lot of game left to play.
Right.
The clog, every clue other than master clues, right? You've got all sorts of stuff left in this game to do. And at some point, you might just want to mix things up with a fun, repeatable boss that is rewarding. Right? Some content that we feel is fun is not rewarding to us anymore. I love Barrows. I'll always love Barrows. It's one of my favorite bosses in the game. I call it my guilty pleasure boss. It's not my go-to boss anymore on my main account. It's not rewarding in the way I need it to be anymore. And when we get a Phantom Muspa, when we get a Vorkath, when we get a Zulrah, who is a boss for the people, as it were, that makes consistent money, people do want that. I understand what you're saying where it's going to get stale if we don't get new things into the game. But I think if the way they're going about it raises alarm bells for some of the best players in the game, not the autumn elegy, I want this just like it was back when I was a little baby because I still am a little baby, right? People we just talked to Solo Mission. And he released a video. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but it was called New Prayers, New Problems. And I would think that's a guy who's pretty on board with changing the game, right? When the people who are on that higher end are like, "Yo, this is giving me some red flags." Don't get me wrong, I don't take their word blindly. I follow, not even that I follow, people on like the high level community, particularly the high level like grandmaster community, will pop up on my feed all the time with these just like, oh, sailing is the dumbest thing ever, forestry is stupid, this is pointless. Like, oh, that's right, I didn't ask kind of opinions, so I get that. But some of the shit that I've been seeing is just spooky, and new prayer book, but better. Maybe not the right time. I think new prayer book with new stuff that's wildly different, that has a different utility. But you're right. How do you make a new prayer book notably without protection prayers? If there's no protection prayers, it's not a combat viable prayer book. And if there's protection prayers, what is so different that makes it different from the standard prayer book? I think that's the issue. So I think at the moment, the better route to revisit prayer would be you have from 78 to 99 to add new prayers for the standard prayer book. What do we do about that? Are there hybrid protection prayers? Is there a range mage? Is there a melee range prayer that we could toss in at like the 96, 97 type level?
Absolutely. I think that, to your point, like expanding the regular prayer book might be the move. There's nothing saying it has to be a completely different prayer book. But adding ones to the ones we already have could be a viable way to make this end game quest viable as a reward. And it doesn't even have to be tons. It could be like 3, and it would still be amazing.
Yeah, I think that might have to be, if they want to compromise in the direction of prayer, that might have to be the direction they move.
Yeah, because we could do 85, 92, and like, I don't know, 96. And those are your end game prayers. And they can be cracked because that level justifies it. Prayer is expensive, and a lot of people stop at like 85.
But are they so cracked that piety no longer has a point? Are they so cracked that rigor and augury no longer have a point?
I mean, not rigor and augury.
But at that point, if rigor and augury, I would argue the only one that people really want to preserve is rigor, right? Because augury and preserve are in the bin as it is, and augury doesn't give a magic damage boost, right? So what do we have space for on the prayer book? That doesn't already there. We have space for, what's it called? We have space for magic damage boost. We have space for what else? Because a lot of other things that are on here, rigor, piety, redemption, smite, protect item, there's already something for it.
Sure. So, but that's the whole prayer book in itself. You see how they have thick skin, rock skin, steel skin, and then piety. I think that's the point of the regular prayer book, is it takes prayer progression into account. So if you had Desert Treasure 2 release a new replacement to piety, I could see that being something that, I would at least go for it. If it was, right now the current level is 70, so you have a level jump from, 28 to 70 from the next one, 34 at the max. So essentially, piety replaces steel skin, ultimate strength, and incredible reflexes, and it gives you one for all 3 of those. So if your next jump was level 90 for a replacement to piety, I think that would be absolutely acceptable. And you use piety until you're level 90, and then from level 90 on, it's going to drain your prayer faster, but you have more max hits, and then you can keep the prayer book. I keep wanting to say spell book.
Yeah,
no, you can keep the prayer book. But I don't know. If I was on the community consultation for this, that's what I would propose. I think that we still need it. We still need a reward, and I think that's where my thought process is coming. Not that I want to say like the rewards that they are offering are going to be boring. Maybe deep down inside, I do believe that, because I don't really care for Muspa. At the end of the day, that's like the most recent quest repeatable boss. It's like, ooh, the money slug. Yay. Vorkath. At least Vorkath at this point, you only have to do it like 50 times at the very least. And then if you want to, you can quit. Same with Muspa, I guess. If you want to get the icon and then leave. Maybe that's how the new Desert Treasure bosses will be. If you just want to get the ring upgrades and go, you can. But there just has to be something. I feel like there has to be something.
I think there, in the new prayer book, looking at it, it seems like there's room for damage reflection and damage reduction, because I think that could serve pretty well as like, because that would cut through prayer pretty quick. If you used a damage reduction prayer to reduce the enemy's max hit by 10%, but it's level 96 and it drains your prayer with piety and a protection prayer on, you're sipping a restore every 30 seconds, right? To keep your prayer off the floor. I think that's got some of something. Damage reflection. Everyone thinks 2 words. What are the 2 words people are thinking of right now, Michael? Soul split. That's where the problem with damage reflection comes in. Got to be careful with that. I think there's space for it, but I think it's got to be like Thrall DPS output space, Ring of Recoil output space, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's room for it somewhere. Mima made a joke, tier 99 prayer that protects your whole inventory in the wilderness and gives dung to the PKer. Maybe a double protect item slot.
That'd be sick. Oh my gosh.
At 90 sick. Prayer, you can protect 2 items now. Right? It's because it adds the confidence of like, oh, I can take my Slayer helmet, my Trident, my Tormented, my Occult, or maybe not my Occult, maybe my Ancestral top and bottom, right? Maybe I've got those 5 things I'm taking with me.
Up, yeah.
So it's got that like confidence, but it also has that risk of like, boy howdy, you better not get smited. Boy howdy, you better have skull protection turned on.
Yeah.
Because now instead of like losing a Slayer helmet, now you're losing a Slayer helmet and a Trident, or you're losing a Slayer helmet and a Tormented, or you're losing a Slayer helmet. See what I mean? Like, yeah, I think there's space for that. I'm looking at the time, and we have like an hour or so because Michael has an IRL obligation to do. Mm-hmm. So we are time gated. And on my list of things I figured we were going to talk about, fundamental changes to the upcoming Grandmaster Quest was not on my bingo board for this episode. So
it did kind of spring us into a whole different conversation.
Genuinely, it's been like 40 minutes. And frankly, I don't even think it's a bad conversation to have. I think it's awesome that we caught this raw in the moment. And it sucks that they're not coming to the game. How are we looking at sailing? Let's try to bring this in a little bit so you and I don't have to like speed run the second half of the show. How are we feeling about sailing overall? I guess for me, I like it more now. I liked it before when they were giving us the potentials. I like it more now that I have a bit more concrete grasp. It's for me, it's both sides. I like it more because I understand it more. I have so many more questions. There are so many things that I'm like, but what if? Right? I have why? Now that, but what if and but why? I guess there are so many things I have to ask left, and I think that's good because that's gonna get the community talking. Because I bet, man, I'm not the only one who feels that way with lots of questions. So that's, I guess, my final little bow tie for sailing is update like 90% good,
with more to come.
Yeah, I'm way too skeptical about the tertiary stuff to consider it. We never touched on I know you're just about to talk about like the gameplay scenarios.
Yeah.
And we just like, it's like gameplay scenarios and ship customization. And we're just like, hold up. We got some hot news. The only thing that really stands out to me, it's cool that they are making like no mobile known. because this is the first time they've really kind of like developed something new, not specifically with mobile in mind, but like in like in the Temporos blog, they weren't like, and it's easy to do on mobile. You know, they didn't update hard mode tab and be like, entry mode is doable on mobile. Like this is pretty cool that they're showing some mobile specific stuff.
Yeah.
And it highlights the difference in intensity and how with like the NPC crewmates that we didn't even talk about at all, how you can do intense activities without having it feel so intense. You know,
that would
saving
be cool for other skills, man.
That demon first mate, the demon cabin boy. Oh my god. It's got to be the demon cabin boy. Xpwaste 2023 demon cabin boy. If it doesn't come into the game, I'll set us up in Falador, boys.
Sure.
Like we're
Cannons out. Cannons out.
Oh my god, no, we'll go to Port Sarim so we can set up our cannons and we'll have our ship cannons at the same time.
Oh
we'll
my
have
god.
twice as many cannons.
Oh my gosh. Do people load their cannons whenever they're in Falador? Is that a thing? Or are they just cannons out?
You do, because that's what makes the cannon rotate.
Oh, okay.
And it fires at all the guards, and when all the cannons are down, the guards live for like 2 seconds. So if there's cannonballs in it, it'll rotate.
Okay.
Does the cannon fire when there's no NPCs? I don't know. I don't actually know. I've never been in a situation where we fire cannons without NPCs.
I think it turns. Like if you set it up, you load it, and you hit fire, I think it still turns when there's nobody around. I've never been to a riot. I should go. Maybe if we're gonna riot for these powers, ruinous prayers. Man, words are hard. Maybe we would. So my bow tie for sailing is I am always the optimistic skeptic in most things. So if you know me in real life and you spent any time with me, you'll know that I don't watch movie trailers because I just don't want to know. And so part of me is excited for the mystery, but that's the skeptic in me. It's like, is the idea of this strong enough that it can stand on its own 2 legs without more explanation? And I didn't think that sailing in the beginning could stand on its own 2 legs without explanation. So I'm glad that we're getting this. I'm glad that we have been told all of this information, and it doesn't make me like regret not voting for it at the end of the day. Like I don't think I'm to the point where I'm like, man, I wish I did vote for this because this is so much fun. But you know, I still probably would be more excited at this point if it was shamanism that was being showcased. But I am excited. I'm more excited now than when it originally was posted and when it originally was talked about. So this adds the depth that I needed. And there's still a lot more that I haven't read in here. So like the gameplay scenarios, the ship customization, all that, I'm going to go back and read later. And maybe we can cover that in a future episode if you guys want. But there's still more to come with sailing, which is great. This won't be the last time you guys hear about it from us. They're going to be potentially talking about like, you know, XP and the reward space and further discussions about gameplay. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I think
exhausting.
It's definitely going to be exhausting.
For so long from us. I'm sorry. I'm not, but like I'm kind of sorry.
Yeah, as long as we can spread out the as long as we can spread out the discussion to where it's not like every single week we're just hashing out sailing,
which I feel like
it'll
we've
be
done
fine.
Like within like 5 or 6 episodes, because like it's gonna be like Leagues a couple of years ago, where like you guys are gonna hear a lot about sailing like every other week, every 3 weeks, and then it's gonna die down for a while, and then all we/Oxie is gonna talk about is sailing when it comes out.
Yeah.
So like,
when it comes out, you best believe that we're gonna be breaking it down. Yeah, it's gonna be the hardest thing to come up with titles because it's all just gonna be like sailing episode 1, sailing episode 2.
That would be funnier than hell if we truly just like did a saga upon release. Like
maybe we can do that for Patreon.
Sail harder.
We'll see.
Sailing 3. Sailing 3, sails end.
This is our podcast. We can do whatever we want. So I think it's time to send these folks a break because, like you said, I am on a bit of a time crunch, and we don't want to miss that. So, folks, thank you so much for sticking around. If you hang out a little bit longer, we'll get to the fun stuff. So we'll see you after this.
Hey, how's it going? Name's Tony. Some people call me Fat Tony. I don't really know how I feel about that. But welcome to my pizza shop. This is Tony's Pizza Bases, located out here in the wilderness. I don't know how to feel about that, but it's kind of the hand you're dealt, you know? I can hear you asking me right now, Fat Tony, why are you out in the wilderness? Why are you out there? Well, I'm fleeing for my life, you know? I had to flee Misthalin. There's this nasty rumor about me that I poisoned old King Rold. There's no basis for that. So you come into my shop out here in the wilderness, what you gonna get? I got everything you need to make a pizza. Got your cheeses, got your tomatoes. Hey, and if you kill a rat out there, I'm sure you could probably find some meat for your pizza, but if you ain't into that, I don't know what to tell you. If you come out here, come out to the wilderness, I'll make you a pizza you write your mama about it. I know it's gonna be dangerous, right? I know that. But I'll tell you right now, it's worth the risk. Come and see Fat Tony. Come and see for yourself. Your time is valuable, and so is mine. I got some bandits to feed. They're getting kind of hungry. I'm gonna hit you with my tagline and close it out. Here we go. The name's Fat Tony. I'm an expert in pizzas, both the making and the eating. Oh, real quick before I go. If you're ever out in Drano Village, I got a cousin named Fortunato. Tell him Fat Tony said hey.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break because I know that I sure did. It's a part of the show now where we take a second to thank the people that make this all possible over on our Patreon. You guys are amazing, each and every one of you. If you're in the KBD tier or the Wise Old Man tier, you get a personal shout out or a text shout out. On the screen now is our Wise Old Man patrons. Thank you to everyone on the Wise Old Man tier. You guys are amazing. No new Wise Old Man patrons this week, but if you do subscribe at the Wise Old Man tier, the first week that you are subscribed and that we record an episode, you will get shouted out by name. And then each week after that, your name is on the screens. So thank you so much to every single Wise Old Man patron. You guys are awesome, amazing, much love, hugs and kisses, consensual hugs and kisses. We can't do this without you guys. And one of the main benefits that you do get in the Wise Old Man tier and KBD tiers is, besides shouting out, you do get access to the recording booth. So that is amazing. I would probably call that one of the best tier unlocks that we have for our Patreon is access to like getting us live instead of having to listen to it when it comes out. Like you get all behind the scenes stuff. You get to interact with us in a way that you potentially get your question or statement read on the show. So you always hear us say like so and so in the recording booth chat. That's us talking to the Wise Old Man and KBD patrons. So thank you so much, Wise Old Man. Next up, we do have some personal shout outs, and that's in the KBD tier. You guys are very, very cool. Very, very awesome. We love you so much. Hugs and kisses, consensually, of course. So we do want to give a personal shout out, starting with Brooke70, Oxie's dad, my dad, all of our dad, Cloud Kicker, Dickie Bird, XP Enjoyer, Gay Raccoon, MB Jones, Legendary, Little Drakey, the Lord Jake himself, Mark aka iSteam, Mike Oxmall, MT Birchfield, Reclinatus, Rylithian, SatanBot666, Soggy Waffles, Seppi J, Seth Shep, Skooma92, Spartan Fire, Taco Ninja, The Big G Jordy, The Crayola Crayon, Toast No Toast, and Tiz Talk Coots. There was a point in time where I couldn't say Reclinatus, but I have that one down pat. Anyway, thank you so much to everyone in the KBD tier. Once again, you guys are amazing. If you want to join all these lovely folks on our Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/Xpwaste. We're going to be changing things up a little bit. Oxie and I have talked about some things that potentially get really excited about. All of the shirts. If you've been following the shirt saga for the last 8 months, all of the shirts, up until the point where people like one-off message me saying, hey, I didn't get it, or hey, I forgot to fill out the form. They're all sent out. I have no shirts in my house. They're all in the mail. So if you're in the EU, you should expect those potentially within the next couple weeks. So anytime between the day this episode comes out to like a week or two after that. It just depends on how long it's going to take for the post offices to route them to you. But they are in the mail. And yeah, if you have any questions on anything about shirts, so just as a little disclaimer, not everyone who is a patron gets a shirt. So we had a thing where in October of 2022, if you were subscribed within the month of October 2022, we are going to send you a shirt. So if you think that you should have received one because you were subscribed in October of 2022, then message me and I will cross-reference what we have, and potentially in, I would say, give it a month. So mid-July, if you think you should have received a shirt and you haven't, message me and we'll work it out. I'll send you one. But other than that, all the shirts are sent and I am so happy. We'll potentially be having this design on our merch store. I want to work with the artist a little bit to customize it to where it looks good on different shirt colors, because the one we have now, it's designed like exclusively for a tan shirt because we left everything pretty much blank. So like we would have to make it to where it looks good on a red shirt or a blue shirt or a green shirt, the design itself. And then it obviously wouldn't have the names on the back because that's specific to the custom shirts that we made. So you may see the design show up on our merch store, but we will definitely tell you guys about that. And I was actually looking through my old files on my computer and I found the original concept. So on the screen now is the original concept that I had made, and the final design, which you guys can see. It's kind of close, but it's the artist that we hired. His name is Warm on Discord. He did a phenomenal job taking that concept and what we had described and bringing it to life. So that is our Patreon updates for now. Again, you can join patreon.com/Xpwaste, and we would love to have you there. Moving on now to our community question. So last week, we asked you guys in the community question, where are you going to be cutting trees when forestry comes out? Lots of great responses. We actually have 19 responses this time. That's a lot more than we normally have. But starting us off, Iron Otis says, the magic tree is right in front of the Sorcerer's Tower, has a special place in my heart from hours of cutting and socializing. But use West Catherby will be more efficient, so I don't know. But maybe both. Honestly, anything in Catherby is pretty nostalgic for me. I never really had the wooden cutting level to do any of it, but I always ran through Catherby and Sears Village, in that area rather, and saw people wood cutting. Lots of bots, but next up we have the Koi Fish. They say nostalgic party at Draenor Village, baby. Then maybe Magic's at Hosidius because it's a really nice place. Oh, I forgot about Magic's in Hosidius. If you go to the Glade teleport, it's like 2 seconds. It's 2 tiles away from 2 magic trees, which is actually pretty good. So if you have a bunch of people chopping those magic trees, you're spawning events and you have the boost. So get your friends and go to Hosidius. Joel says, I think I'll have to go to the classics Willows, just below Draenor Village, for nostalgia of watching bots get ragged by that mage wandering around the area. Good memories from my youth. That actually was one, good memories, but also traumatic memories, because
you can't wander too far if you're not prepared.
If you are a low level, you are going to die because they do not relent. They chase you. Like even if you run into the bank, like those mages will chase you. It's like the Dark Mages south of Varrock Part 2. This person's name is just numbers. So for the sake of maybe not reading off their phone number, I'm going to say this person says, Priff, got to get me the crystal shards too. Hell yeah. That's a great point because there are so many good trees in Priff. And
Watch
if you're cutting,
watch it not work in Priff. I'm kidding. It'll work in Priff.
It's gotta work. The crystal shards are gonna be nice. Maybe that'll make like divine pots go down for a while because so many people are getting crystal shards. Moving on, Moist Sean says only got 61 wood cutting. The spot 61? Sean, wood cutting is the easiest skill in the game. Anyway.
I don't call him moist for nothing. Or I think that's what he said, a couple weeks ago? So
they don't call me Moist Sean for
exactly.
They call me Moist Sean for a reason.
Exactly.
The spot behind Sears Bank and Draenor Willows are also some personal favorites, primarily because of nostalgia. I don't know a good use spot though. Hey, Sean, if you get your wood cutting up, they've got some pretty good spots in Priff. That's Robbie.
Can Sean cut use? But 61, yeah, he can.
61 you can. Hey, that's actually, listen, that's all you need for a dragon axe. So that's pretty good. Thormac, shout out to Thormac. Thormac says, U Trees in Lumbridge. Never got to go there in free to play as a kid, but I remember seeing my friend cutting it with other free to players during middle school, and I always wanted to do it. There are U Trees in Lumbridge. There's one that's in that little graveyard area. It's kind of funny, like the starting area, but it has one of the end game trees. Nathan G says my members' wood cutting place of choice is going to be Hughes, west of Catherby. I spent so much time there making money in RS2 back in the days of profitable skilling. I had a friend, and this is a side tangent, but I'm gonna make it quick. I had a friend. His name was Red _ White. And he was the richest friend that I had back in like 2006. He had a Santa hat, and he was only 92 wood cutting. Only 92. And that man could afford a Santa hat. So this is probably back when they were maybe like 100 mil. Maybe. So I don't know. I kind of wish I did that. Like he would just, the nostalgic place for me is like south of Falador. He would hang out there all the time. If you logged in on his world, he was south of Falador cutting yew trees. So I may hang out there for a little while in memory of Red White. And if you're listening, Red White, Nike Mikey says, hey. Matt says, I better be at Redwoods by then. Otherwise, I XP wasted a little too hard. June 28th, we have about 10 days. About a week when this episode comes out.
You have 6 days, 2 weeks. One is 28th because it's 19 right now. Yep, you have 6 days. You got this.
Oh man. Well, you can do it. But hey, redwoods aren't, nothing exciting is going to be happening with redwoods with forestry. So maybe don't cut redwoods. Grant says, I would love to stop by the Draenor Willows or maybe the yews next to the GE. The yews in the... I feel like this is the second... Because I read through these. No, that's the only one. Where are there yews by the GE? Is it like behind the castle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
the best like free-to-play wood cutting spot, or one of the big ones.
That's pretty nostalgic for me too. Because I remember being back there and like being afraid of the bear even though it's in a cage. Kid brain back then. Anyway, Frito-Lay17 says, in my underwear. Excuse me? Okay. The joke is over my head. Are you talking about wood in your underwear? Come on now. This is a family show. Alex says, Magic's in Camelot or the maples behind the bank. A lot of people want to cut in Catherby and Sears Village.
I mean, I cut them maples for a long time on like all my accounts. So the maples in Sears Village are... That's aight.
Yeah.
That's aight. I cut there.
You did that on your Iron Man.
For a long time, yes.
For a long time. Young Mac says, probably Eorzea. Where is that? That's probably in RuneScape 3. Or in some game that we don't play. Because Young Mac, he's like, hey guys, you can take me out of the clan because I'm going to be gone indefinitely. Like, yeah, no. We're just going to kill chompies. If you don't get that reference, you're not listening to enough Xpwaste. Mockcat says, I always enjoy maples near the Sinclair Mansion, and I honestly can't think of how Forestry will change the way I play. For non-UIMs, you could cut farther from a bank if you have a leprechaun charms. Yeah, it's not going to be game-changing for UIMs because they specifically said that they're not going to allow you to note logs. So like, chop, drop. That's about what you're doing. Dynamite says, I'll be cutting down trees in the wilderness resource area. Anyone else is pretty much a Weenie Hut Jr.
Hell yeah. That's the kind of answer I like right there. Clapping his dick on the table and saying, "No, the resource area is mine." I like that. I respect the hell out of that, dog. I gotta love with you. That's awesome.
That's funny. Ekinetics. Ekinetics? Ekinetics? I think that's Ekinetics. Anyway, your name is interesting. I'll be cutting trees at Sears Village since there are a variety of trees in a small area. It seems like a reasonable place to be. Bro, everybody's going to be in Sears Village. It's either going to be Sears Village or like Draenor, from what it sounds like. I love this one. Razik says, hell nah. They're not going to be cutting trees. Hell no. Real Crazy says, I'll be wherever the clan is. No.
Now that's a good answer right there.
I love
That's
that.
a good answer.
Man, can they put trees like can they put like willow trees and yew trees and stuff in the clan hall? Can we plant them? Like if you take 100 willow saplings or like 1,000 yew saplings, we could just have a permanent tree in the clan hall. That'd be cool.
I think we don't get ruinous powers, so let's get some clan hall upgrades.
Clan hall upgrades, please. Tohees says, no trees, please. Love you guys. By the way, yas are epic. Yaws are epic.
He said forestry sucks, but you guys don't, so I'll take it.
Heart emoji. And finally on Spotify, Chris says, most will say Draenor Willows, but I've got a burning nostalgia for the willows on the lake outside of Lumbridge. Catch me there with my lumberjack gear and an infernal two-handed axe. My man.
I ain't.
My man. All right, that is it for the Spotify replies. Moving on to our YouTube replies. Not too many here. We asked the same question. Where are you going to be cutting trees when forestry comes out? Yes, sir, says magic trees at the Sorcerer's Tower. OG spot for magics, and with Sears Elite, it's easy to bank and tally back. The Sorcerer's Tower, is that the one in Sears? Because a lot of people had said Sorcerer's Tower, but like...
that's the one...
I don't remember.
It's not quite in Sears. It's like right by Sherlock, almost.
Oh, it's south of Sears.
Yeah, it's where the Scorpion Catcher quest is. Yeah.
Is that the building you jump off of? Jump off of when you're doing
agility?
agility?
The Watchtower. No.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No. You're thinking of the church in Sears Village. So you jump off.
There's magic trees there, or is that yew trees? I don't know. I've done so many. I think I did
according
like 1,000 laps.
According to the map, there's yew trees.
Okay. Yeah, I jumped off that thing about 1,000 times and just kind of just like zoned out essentially. Next up, Callista Wolf says, absolutely use and priff. The bank there is my favorite spot in all of Osrs with the anvil, furnace, and singing bowl and all of that. That's a good place to go. Definitely, it's either going to be Draenor, Sears Village, or Prifddinas. I feel like that's going to be the hot spots. And finally, on our YouTube replies, Jordy says either old school use at the GE or for funsies or anywhere in Prif. My man, Jordy. All right, guys, that is it for the community question. Thank you so much to everyone who did answer. If you want to answer this week's question, it will be based on the blog. What would you like to see added or improved for sailing so far? We want to know because we gave a lot of our opinions. And
I swear to God,
we want to know.
If I hear, I think we should change it by not making it a skill.
We're not reading those. I will read them, but we just won't. You won't get the reaction.
I'll just disappointedly shake my head.
Yeah, we'll just
at
shake
every single one.
And it's going to be so quiet for all the audio-only listeners. It's going to be so quiet. So
it's going to be like the Hanani level pauses. You guys have to wait.
We'll get Hanani back on the episode so that she forces us to do a moment of silence for all these stupid answers. Anyway, with that, you can answer these questions over on the community question section on Spotify or the pinned comment of this YouTube video. My man Oxie is in mid-yawn, and I'm going to ask him to do Achievement of the Week.
Yeah.
Sir, you can take it away.
Michael, I'm a sleepy boy. I got to level with you. I think I said at the top of the episode, I mean, I drove home. It was a long day. It's a long car ride to get back home. And then I still woke up at 7 a.m. So probably like post-tournament, post-museum day, I did stay up too late, but like I should have been able to hang longer.
Yeah.
You know, were I not so just like exhausted. It is Achievement of the Week time. I almost forgot for a second what she actually started talking to me for, but I remembered it is time for Achievement of the Week. I've done it this time before the episode, so we're cheering, we are set, we are ready to go. I just got a Raynar bead from these elves. Raynars are only 5k a pop these days? That's wild.
Oh, man.
5.7, I think. But, yeah, I don't know why, man. Fading fast. Need to take myself a nap before practice.
Coffee.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't say no, but it's time we get rolling with Achievement of the Week. Kicking us off with the miscellaneous category this week. Got clues. Got their quest cape. So not only do they now have clues, they also have quest cape. So congratulations to you. Evil on Olive got their diary cape. You'll hear a little bit more from him soon. Bob Dole got his music cape. And Skullman or Spoonman, Spoon NM in the Discord got all of their champion scrolls, but didn't post about getting a champion's cape.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Spoon got his champion's cape, which adds to he's part of the elite few now who have the champion's cape on the show. But I don't know for sure. So Spoon, clarify for us, because you showed us the collection log. You've got all of them, but like, where's the cape, man? You know? Anyways, congratulations to our folks in the miscellaneous category. Hopping over to the skilling section, we have quite a few 99s for you guys this week. Sergeant Soggy and his brother, whose username I could not make out in the screenshot, both got 99 strength at the same time. Planker achieved 99 agility, cruising his way to max. Nubfix, or formerly known as level 3 Nub, got 99 farming and 99 woodcutting. That's extra impressive considering that is a skiller account, who I think finally moved into members because now there's 99 farming. So exciting stuff there. Suffix Isaac achieved 99 farming and 99 cooking. Dave Dication, who I've been pronouncing as Dave Diction for a year or two at this point.
Why change now?
Dave Dication, because I can actually stop and read people's names because I'm not that much of a mumpty. Achieved 99 prayer. Wonos also achieved 99 prayer. It's a very holy week for folks, once again. Bob Dole achieved 99 range and 99 hit points.
They were prayer thing. They were getting prayer for the ruinous powers, but RIP.
Truly, RIP. Jaharis achieved 99 Slayer. Evil on Olive, once again, back. I think it's our second double-double this week, with 99 attack, mage, and defense. All like at the same time, too, out in the desert. Dinosaur achieved 99 prayer. Fumble Swing achieved 99 firemaking. Hunchy34 achieved 99 strength and 99 range. Elagio's friend, who's, once again, name I couldn't make out from the screenshot, achieved 99 firemaking. I believe that was his first ever 99. Smiley Prophet achieved 99 strength, and a Frightened Couch achieved 99 cooking. Remember how at the top of the episode I said we're guaranteed to talk about RS3 for just a little bit?
Yeah.
There was an achievement that I had to watch over again because it was a video. Loopy Land achieved 99 hunter, divination, construction, rune crafting, mining, smithing, woodcutting, cooking, and fletching. 9 99s.
Oh my gosh.
In the same tick in RS3.
That's amazing.
Now, granted, 99 is not as impressive as RS3 from what I have been told as an old school player, because he just like popped open a chest and all 99s hit at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
He did say he also got it at the end of like the double XP weekend or whatever. Which is, again, that's not to say maxing your account is not impressive. I think it is.
And we're not downplaying the
No,
achievement
it's an
because he
achievement,
got
baby.
9.99s at one time.
Hell yeah.
So congratulations to you, Loopyland, even if you're playing the wrong version of the game. Finishing up the skilling section, Shinkiro achieved 2K total level, Tantotrix achieved 2100 total level, and Spari achieved 2200 total level. So 2 of you have new worlds you can play around in. Tantotrix, you have a really long time before you get to another one. At least that's how it feels for me. Finally, wrapping things up for Achievement of the Week this week, we have the combat section.
Ooh.
We have 2 fire capes, though they're not people's first fire capes. They're the first fire capes on the account. But I'll be damned if we don't have first fire capes in Achievement of the Week. Elagio achieved his first fire cape on his group Iron Man, and Rusko achieved it on his Iron Zerker on mobile.
Whoa.
If someone could explain to me why Iron Men are creating PK build accounts, that would be great. Because frankly, I don't get the point of why we're killing.
You don't get combat XP in the wilderness on an Iron Man. So it like you don't level up by killing people.
But
That's
you
my
don't
understanding.
get anything from killing people.
You kill them and you pick it up on your main. Or they just like completely
but is it like if it's in the
Item
form of a
sync it.
key, is the key just like deleted?
Yeah. If they don't, you can just delete the key. Some people don't care.
So that's
Item
my
sync.
question is why. So if someone, Rusko, if you could explain that, that'd be cool. We have some more firsts this week. Are You Swole achieved his first Zalra kill. Kevbot also achieved his first Zalra kill. Binding Bink achieved his first Gauntlet, and Low and Infamous Boy 1 both achieved their first Corrupted Gauntlet KC. We've got some kits, as always. Gingertron93 and Gay Raccoon both achieved their Missouri Crafting Kit. Moving into the combat achievement section of the achievement for combat. You gotta think of a better name for what's in the game. I don't know. Foolish Buana, my boy Leo Nasty, and Swifty07, which I think is hysterical, all achieved their Elite Combat achievements this week. Why is it funny that Swifty07 got his Elite Combat achievements? My man said, I haven't logged in a year, and I came back, and apparently they changed the combat system. So, guess we've got Elite Combat Diaries done.
Yeah.
So, what a time. It is, however, time to end Achievement of the Week on not one, but 2 absolutely massive achievements achieved by beloved clanmates this week. Recycle Please and Troll in the same week both received their first Infernal Cape.
Whoa.
I know I've been seeing Troll doing it in VC, and I just haven't been able to hop in. And you could tell when someone's in there every single day, other than me, right? When someone's in the Inferno every day, it's right around the corner, right? I didn't even know Recycle was in the Inferno that frequently. I've just like kind of seen stuff on occasion. I think it's funny. Someone posted in Levels and Achievements like, hey, I made it to Zuck and I almost made it through Healers. Like, I'm so close. And then like a couple hours later, Recycle Please was like, hey, your tweet inspired me. I got my cape. Like,
hell yeah.
and then he just went and did it the next day. So I know Recycle Chris has at least 2 KC now. I don't know about Troll though, but either way, you guys are finally free. And I bet it feels awesome, right? Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your new cape. Stick a Trover parchment on it. Don't take it in the wilderness, but just in case, stick a Trover parchment on it.
Yeah.
It's going to screw up the bank slot. That's fine. Just for your own sanity, stick a Trover parchment on it, right? And that wraps up Achievement of the Week. I just killed a fruit fly in my bedroom.
Whoa.
That wraps up
Slayer
Achievement of the
level
Week.
10.
I got bam, rapid
Slayer level.
reflexes. Dun, 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 dun. At least I think that's what the Slayer sounds like. I don't know. Anyways, thank you. You guys are awesome. I don't know why I'm thanking you for posting your achievements. If you want to post them, though, head over to our Discord, discord.gg/OSRSTNL. Link for that will be in the description down below. And then you guys can join and hang out and do all that fun stuff. Post about all the cool stuff you're doing, all the sick-ass achievements you guys are achieving. Like we said, we do not discriminate. Any achievement is a good achievement, and we are excited to see it. yeah, come hang out. We have, as we always say, objectively the best RuneScape Discord in the entire world. We're closing in on Michael's departure time, which means we are at the light at the end of the tunnel. Michael, my friend, do you have a fun question for us this week?
I do. Are you ready, my dear
I am
Oxie?
ready.
So this one actually comes from a frequent fun question enjoyer named Dinosaur. They're just popping off with the good questions. This is more so fun for Oxie. I've read through this question. And Oxie's like, hey, did you see the one that Dinosaur posted? I'm like, no. He's like, okay, I'm going to get some water. You read through it. I was like, okay. Thinking that, okay. And originally I thought that somebody posted a question about a dinosaur, like a dinosaur question. But then it turns out it was posted by a guy named Dinosaur in our Discord. Anyway, the question is, say we get a new batch of TOA invocations, kind of like a free DLC in another game. What kinds of mechanics and crazy stuff would you want to see added to the bosses of TOA? Anything devious? Like a Mind the Gap equivalent in the Xebec room, perhaps? I have arguably nothing. Okay, so I think that you should say yours and we'll get the creative juices flowing. And then I'll kind of chime in if something pops into my brain.
Don't worry, honey. It's my life's work to get your juice flowing. So let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Also, I just was notified in the recording booth chat that DWZK, you missed my first Solver KC on Saturday night. Last Saturday? I must have missed that. That's my apologies. DWZK also achieved his first Solver this week. Congratulations. No, it's time to get back to it. We're cruising. So I did actually think about this because I saw this while I was out and was like, oh, what would be fun? And one of the first ones that came to mind is like Stay Vigilant 2.0, where, hear me out, the shadows in Akka also have protection prayers.
Oh my gosh.
Opposite to what Akkas are. And they attack you in an off-tick cycle.
No.
And it's like a 35-point invocation for Akka, where... So, like, let's say Akka is protecting melee and range and attacking you with melee. The Shadow would protect range and mage and attack you with range, just like Akka does. But, like, if it's like a 5-tick cycle and Akka attacks on tick number 2, the Shadow would attack on tick number 4. And then it would just, like, you have to flick back and forth and kill the Shadow. But, like, maybe you compensate by giving the Shadow less health.
Okay.
That would definitely be a bit of a troll invocation there. Another one that might just be kind of random. We randomize where the eggs are going to fly out at Kefri.
Okay.
And then we leave poop mounds where they stand. So it throws off pathing all around the room. So pathing to get to like scarab swarms or, you know, getting to the corner for your poop line.
Yeah.
Throws it off a little bit. I think those would be some good ones right there. I mean, maybe you add one like Mind the Gap for Xebec is insta kill on a chomp. Instead of there's no way it'll chomp twice, the minute Xebec bites you, you just die. That's what that mechanic would be. Like, because that, like, you as a person do not survive the jaws of a 45-foot crocodile ever, right? Or a 100-foot long, however it is. So I think a Mind the Gap equivalent would be just like if you get chomped, you insta die.
That would be rough.
Yeah, especially combined with like the upset stomach. That would be pretty rough.
But nobody would ever you just wouldn't go close, and then you couldn't reduce its spec. Well, you could.
I mean, you could.
Huge risk.
You have to walk it properly. Like there's an achievement for killing Xebec with only melee, so it's very possible to do it without getting chomped and dying, but like if you mess that up, just immediately dead. Because people do mess it up.
Think about this. In order to get the little recolors for the transmog of the pet, you have to put on all of the invocations. That would make it suck to get the Xebec one.
You ever tried to get the pet recolors, Michael?
No.
It's gonna suck no matter what.
Okay.
It's gonna suck no matter what.
Okay. Sure.
boy, what's another one? I mean, like, the easiest one I can think of for wardens is, like, both wardens spawn at the same time, and you have to flick between their attacks.
Insanity 3.
Yeah, oh my god,
What's,
Overclocked 3 or, like, Insanity 2, that would be pretty wild.
What's the hardest one? Is it Insanity? That makes everything just, like, crazy that, like, on the day of release, we're like, oh my gosh, Insanity. We'll never do that.
Insanity day of release was pretty insane.
Yeah. So it would be Insanity 2, not Insanity 3.
It's
Guys, I don't have.
Overclocked
Let me
2.
pull up the stupid invocation.
This is great.
OSRS invocations.
You know what an absolutely uber fucked one would be? Would be a horribly difficult, like 100-point scaling invocation. The removal of certain combat styles.
Whoa.
Could you imagine like a no melee, by the way, invocation?
Yeah.
Where you just can't use a fang? How do you get through Akka? Is the question.
Oh yeah.
How do you get through? That's the only issue is how do you get through Akka? Or maybe you make it so like, you know, like no overloads needed, and you don't get overloads.
Oh, no salts.
No salts. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't think these necessarily make it more fun. I think they make it more challenging.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I guess that's subjective whether or not you find that fun. But you never said fun. You said TOA DLC. Oh, the helpful spirit arrives at random times. It's not after every other room. The helpful spirit randomly appears. So like you could get it where the helpful spirit doesn't appear until after rooms 3 and 4, or you get it after it appears after room 1 and just have to like hold on to all your shit until the end of room 4. Like,
I've got nothing. Honestly, dude, I've got nothing. Like, I don't think I have not done enough TOA, and I am not familiar enough with the actual invocation. Because here's why. I'm not familiar enough with the invocations because anytime I've gone on a raid in TOA, somebody else has been the party leader, and they're just like, yeah, we're putting this, and this.
Well, what mechanics do you know you don't like? Or what mechanics are the bosses that you know you do like?
Okay, so the only one that I think I could actually have an opinion on is Baba, because that's my favorite boss fight. And so maybe an invocation that widens the gap for some reason, just to make it more of a...
Oh, God.
Like, where you have,
good.
like, one safe tile on each side. It would definitely make it harder. But it's like... it's avoidable.
Call it get capped, idiot.
Get gapped. I think it's funny it's called Mind the Gap because that's a very British thing in a very medieval game. Baba. So maybe an invocation that gave Baba a range attack would be kind of cool, where she threw rocks at you instead of like if you're out of melee distance, so that if you run away and you're at the rock, you would have to switch your prayer style. That'd be kind of cool. So that it's not just like pray melee the whole time, because that makes the fight really easy. And like you would have to...
It would also really throw off red Xing too. Oh yeah. People would fucking hate that.
Oh.
It'd be pretty... I mean, people would hate most of the invocations I suggested. So trust me, that's not a thing. But
yeah. Mima said, bosses gain a chance to ignore your protection prayers and defenses. So just chip damage?
Already do that?
Yeah. Chip damage,
that's
probably.
My question. Damn bosses.
How are we going to make monkeys better? Because I want invocations that make that better. The monkey rooms. Maybe if you turn on this invocation, and it's the only invocation that you turn on, you have an insta-kill button that just lets you pass the monkey room altogether. Like the waves don't spawn.
Ooh,
that would be amazing.
Okay. We call it speedrunner's choice. And the trade-off is you don't have to do any of the puzzle rooms. Specifically not the monkey room. Boss's health and damage are doubled.
I would do that. 100% I would do that.
Could you imagine an off-prayer hit from Akka hitting you for an 80?
That would be insane.
And like that's really only worth it for Baba.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, is that like, who knows? Would that be a good one? I don't know. Probably like I don't think any of mine would be good. I probably would be pissed if all of mine made it into the game, but like that could be one to just like skip the puzzle room entirely.
Or the whole raid is just puzzle rooms. Like you don't do any bosses.
That sucks. I think that's just called entry mode, Michael. I got along with you.
I want an invocation that disables all of the plugins, like quality of life plugins for the puzzle room.
Yeah, you can. They have that right now.
them.
It's called TOAQOL, and you just hit the little arrow so it's turned off, and you don't use it.
Hey, but people don't do that. People use them constantly.
Well,
I'll die on this hill. I no wait, is that I won't die on this hill? I don't know. It's early. Maybe next week we'll have a fun question that I can actually have fun with.
I had a blast with this question.
I'm so glad you did.
I was hoping you would read it ahead of time like you normally do, and I wouldn't be so like,
That's true.
leaving you
So
high and
here's
dry.
what I'll commit this to you. Anytime there's a fun question, instead of going off the dome, if it's a tough one like that, I'll read it and I'll put some thought into it. Because
I won't. Don't make that promise because I won't. I'll just make shit up.
That's true. Is it better off the dome? But listen, if I got nothing in the dome, that's worse than not off the dome.
Well, I mean, this may be the only exception where in the dome might have been better, but you live and you learn.
You live and learn. That's a good one. Anyway, thank you, Dinosaur, for that question. Did they give us an example? I don't know. They said,
yeah, it's the Mind the Gap.
Mind the Gap. Okay. I was because I love it when you guys give us a fun question and then you kind of answer it for yourself, so we know where your head is at. But if you guys want to leave us a fun question, you can do so in our Discord. If you're a patron, we have a Fun Questions Discord channel. So you're more likely for your your question not to get buried, more likely to be seen. But you can always message us on our social media or on our email. Send us an email with your fun question. The best way to give us a fun question is via postcard. I've got an entirely new corkboard behind me, and it's only halfway filled up. I would say maybe a quarter if I kind of put them all together. But we have a new P.O. box. If you've been checking the description of the episodes, you'll notice that our P.O. box has changed. I'll say it out loud here, but the cool thing is I still have the other P.O. box. So if you for some reason want to send something to the other one, I still check that occasionally, and we still have that one until the end of the year. So P.O. Box 2376, Keller, Texas 76244 is the new P.O. Box number. Keen-eared and keen-eyed listeners and viewers will know that 2376 will be the new, maybe temporary max number if we only have sailing come into the game. So 2277 is no more, 2376 is king. So P.O. Box 2376, Keller, Texas 76244. That is a new P.O. Box. So send us your postcards. Send us your anything. I mean, if you want us to try a food, send it to the P.O. Box. Whatever
You're
you
gonna
want to
have
send.
Michael try it, not me. But just to be clear, but
I'll send Oxie a bit of it.
That's
I
gross.
can
Don't.
forward the mail to him. Listen, you sent me a bag of chips. Like that's
I
not
sent you back. If someone sends you, like a frozen pizza, you're not gonna
No.
send me that back. You know what I'm
like if
saying?
you have a local thing that is like if you have a chip manufacturer that's really good, or if you have a candy bar that's not going to melt in the mail because you're sending it to Texas, by the way. If you have a candy bar that you really like from your country, send it to us. We'll try it on the show. We'll give you our honest opinion. Anyway, that is going to do it for the show, guys. Thank you so much if you made it this far. You can follow us on all of our social media. All of that will be in the description. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/Xpwaste. Join our Discord, discord.gg/OSRSTNL. And if you want to buy our merch, the first time neither of us are wearing merch in a long time, it's xpwaste.shop. Hopefully we'll have some summer updates, maybe a new shirt design with the Patreon logo, that thing that we made for our patrons. So stay tuned and look for that, xpwaste.shop. My advice to all of you, buy a water bottle and drink some water. Do yourself some good. Happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.